You go this damn thing over here snitching, recording in progress.
I mean, you gotta know. Hey, look, if somebody recording me, I need to know what's going on because legally, I'm obligated to be able to be like, nah, I don't need that, or I do want that.
I mean, no, because like you hear the audio, but then you also see the pop-up show up, like recording in progress. And I'm like,
maybe you was, maybe you are someone who that's deaf. So you gotta read the Zoom. And reason also, I just found out that Stevie Wonder is a FaceTimer.
So wait. Only reason why I'm laughing because that sounds like a crazy fact.
Like, yeah, they say he'd be like, hey, I want y'all to see see these different things that I'm around right now. I'm like, yeah, okay, Stevie. That's that was a wild.
Who makes the calls?
He does. He can make a call, but like I don't know why he chooses to do the FaceTime. Like that's the one I'd be like,
I guess because maybe he wants the other person that he's on the call with to enjoy visually what he's not able to experience. So that's being selfless right there. You know what? Shout out to Stevie. I'm not going to be on no FaceTime calls. I can't stand that shit, but shout out to Stevie. That's what's up.
What do you think Stevie dreams about?
I saw this question in the chat the other day and I said, Jason is going to hell for even asking this. So I don't even want to answer this question. I mean, I guess if you have a wide imagination. Wait, was he born blind?
That's what I don't know. I got to look that up. I got to research it. I'm going to deep dive Stevie. Like during the pandemic, they did. You remember they used to do all the lives and stuff like that. That's all we had. And like they did Stevie Wonder's birthday, and they did a 24-hour Stevie Wonder session. But like dude's been doing music since like the 60s, maybe even the 50s, but I'm for sure the 60s. So he's an interesting dude nonetheless. So.
Yeah, because I know Ray Charles, he wasn't born blind, but when he got to a certain age is when he lost his vision. So to ask that question for Ray probably be having dreams of when he was younger.
He was a kid.
But I don't know if Stevie if he was born blind or if it happened over time. But this conversation has nothing to do with what we're going to review today. But you know what?
It kind of it ties into beautiful music. Like the music of this movie is amazing. It's Cinco de Mayo. We feeling good. We here today.
We are, yes. And so since it's a holiday, Cinco de Mayo, we're gonna take some shots. Or at least one for sure.
Oh yeah, we got that. You got that.
I don't know if we should start it off by taking a shot. Actually, let's get through the intro first. Let's get through the intro first. All right. Welcome. Oh, okay. Jason just took his. Well, let me go ahead and do the intro. Welcome to the Was It Good Though podcast, where we discuss, debate, and sometimes argue on movies and TV shows, old and new. I am one of your hosts. My name is Jazz. For those, this is your first time coming. Shout out to those checking us out for the first time, and also for those that are returning. And I am joined with my co-host, Jason. Jason, how you feeling? You just took a shot, so.
Not nothing too bad, a little Jameson, but I'm feeling well. I can't complain. Amazing TV I've been watching, some amazing films. So we here.
We are.
How you feel? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Fresh off of seeing the movie that we will be reviewing today. And I also got my shot. I will take it after we get started. I don't have no Jameson, but I do have some Crown Apple. Yes, got a shot and a sip, a drink on the side as well. But for our episode 48, we will be reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Yes, just came out. We are here. It is the final movie of this trilogy that just released. So if you have not seen this film, just know since we will be discussing it, we will be spoiling it. So this is your spoiler alert. But before you turn the pod off, please be sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, all of those great things. Come check us out once you finally get to see this film. And since this movie did just drop, it is not available on streams. But if you do have a clear copy, send that to our way. But we do not promote that at all whatsoever. This movie was definitely worth seeing in theaters, hands down. And this is the second Marvel movie that released this year, and also our second movie that we are reviewing in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
So, and normally when we have these type of reviews, because we always do Marvel movies when they first drop. We more so have a open dialogue discussion in these episodes. So I think that's definitely where we're going, because a lot of emotions, because I'm fresh out the theater. I left 2 hours ago and I was like, I can't wait to get started on this. So I was like, make sure ain't no tears or nothing, none of that on the face.
They definitely play with your emotions in this movie.
And this movie also lets you know why you should never trust trailers. Trailers cannot be trusted at all whatsoever. And I also have some apologies I have to make during this episode and flowers to give out. Yes.
This is your sorry for 2023.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say that. Yeah. I'll take that. Yo, we here.
Hey, I love to hear it. So, man, this is, like I said, this is a trilogy. So of course we got to get into what's the best trilogy in Marvel. We have to talk about that. We have to talk about villains again, because this villain was just completely wrong. So there's no discussion of, well, maybe I can see his point. Not there's none of that this week, but we are going to talk about where this man possibly ranks in villains in the DC. I mean, not DC, in the Marvel universe. But we also got to talk about James Gunn. This being James Gunn, last movie with Marvel. How he sent that as I said, a marvelous send off into DC, and just seeing how that's going to go. But of course, we find out that this trilogy is kind of set around a little bit around Rocket, about Rocket's story, which has been kind of telling it since the very beginning. So I've been watching James Gunn, because he's been kind of explaining it in different things, and he was just saying each of them was kind of about the father. In every movie, so each movie was centralized about different people. So the first movie was more about Gamora and Nebula, their situation with their father. The second one was more about Quill and his father. Then of course you got the maker of Rocket in this one, which, like I said, it was kind of crazy, because you see the different points and the different how they try to manipulate a situation and things like that. But you going into the movie, you get the hand reaching inside the cage, reaching that. Then we open up on Rocket, listening to music, which that's a big Quill thing. That's typically something that Quill, but now they have it on the loudspeaker at nowhere. How you feeling going into this movie so far?
So I wasn't exactly sure where we were going with this, because I remember, and I believe that you saw it as well, the Christmas special for the Guardians that dropped, I believe, in December. And so when I saw this opening, it immediately reminded me of that, because now we see where our heroes are. So if anybody has not seen that holiday special, it's definitely a good, solid watch. I think it's like maybe a little over an hour. Very good. And so you see where they are. They're in nowhere, and everybody's doing different things. Like, it's a community. You got Nebula and
Groot.
Nebula and Groot putting up the sign. And then you got where was Mantis at? Mantis was
she was trying to get Drax to dance.
And Drax was like, only fools dance. I'm like, you a hater. You a hater. And so Rocket is just walking around looking at different things. And he does seem troubled. He definitely seems troubled. And so he was just walking through. We see different scenes, and then we see him walking into some type of or like a little shack. And we see Quill. He's a few bottles in. And we know, hey, look, I don't judge. It's Cinco de Mayo. So look, Quill could have had 6 bottles on that table. I'd be like, oh, Cinco de Mayo. He's celebrating. It's cool. And so obviously he's still upset because Gamora is gone. Gamora, she died and then came back from a different timeline, and she still ain't with him. So he's still dealing with that heartbreak. And he sees that Rocket has his iPad device listening to music. And then Quill's like, I told you not to put your raccoon paws on it. Then he pass out. And then Rocket always says, I'm not a raccoon. And so let me ask you this, because we just finished our Coke Chronicles. Who do you think was more down bad from losing the love of their life? Quill or Sissy?
It's definitely Sissy.
Sissy was?
I don't know though, man, because to be real, Quill cost us the world in Infinity War. If we, I mean, are we going back that far? Can I go back to Infinity War? Because he
You
definitely
can. I mean, it was brought up in this movie. So
So yeah, he definitely and he messed up the plan. He deviated from what the actual plan was. So yeah, no, it was. I think it was. Well, it that's a tough one.
right.
Ooh, I don't know.
I was just like, I gotta ask that on this episode. I was just like, yeah. I don't think it's a right or wrong answer, but I definitely think if you just play back the different things and actions and behaviors each person did, it's like, well, Sissy cost $73 million. Quill cost the world, but they came back.
Well, she didn't.
Look,
to an extent, but nah, she did.
Right. And so Nebula comes in, she picks up Quill off the ground. And this scene was obviously in the trailer because we thinking, oh, Quill is dead. He passed out drunk. And so that's why I'm just like, you should never trust trailers. Just use them as that's going to get my attention, but never try to look at it like, okay, let me try to expect what's going to happen. Because Scream 6 did the same thing because they had a scene of Jenna like she was about to die.
Mm-hmm. And she was falling off the thing, and that's not what happened at all.
It's not. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but whatever. If not, check out our review.
Exactly.
And so we see Nebula put Quill to bed. Everybody's chilling. Rocket goes into his room. But then during the scene, we see Adam Warlock, which we haven't seen since the second Guardians. So when you saw him just going through space, and his introduction was stupid aggressive, like they got to it. I was like, whoa.
And so you remember I told you I missed the beginning of the movie, right? So I missed the beginning of the movie. So I'm thinking going into the movie, I'm like, so did I miss them introducing him? Like no, there was
the first shot of him was him flying. He was like, that was it. So I was like, where he going? I thought he was going somewhere else. And I'm like, how did you know where they were?
Nah, he pulled up with animosity on his brain. Like that was his
straight to Rocket. I'm like, you couldn't just come in like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? You fucking up buildings and people sleep. Adam, my guy, my mans, what are you doing? Like, what did you think about this entire scene of like all the destruction of everything happening? Because I think at this point we're probably 20 minutes into the film and they're getting to it.
I don't think we were that far into the film when that happened. I was shocked, but with it being a trilogy, you would expect it to be pure chaos. Like these people have been developed over years. Like I want to say the first movie was like 2013, 2014. They've appeared in 5-6 different movies already, plus the actual holiday special. And I was just like, man, this place was a beautiful place in December. Now look at it now. We destroyed everything this quick. So, but I enjoyed it. Like the pacing of this movie, like the entire movie, I was at the edge of my seat, just like, bro, what's about to happen? Because and I love the way they intertwine the flashbacks with the stuff that was going on, because the stuff it kind of told where we was going next. So it guided you in there, kind of like Lila says it in one of the scenes. She was like, these are the hands that made you, but there are hands that are guiding you as well. And I feel like there was a call for us, like the people that's watching, like, yeah, this is what this is, but I need you to look at this right here. Like, this is what I want you to follow. But
Lila had me, that motherfucker, that had me toe up. Like, Lila was dropping, we gonna get there, but man.
Yeah, Lila the entire thing, it was beautifully written. I feel like there was a lot of seeds planted, a lot of callbacks from the beginning of the saga, from even just in this movie. I loved how they brought things back up. But when they pulled up, the Guardians, they seemed like a formidable opponent. Nebula, she has an upgrade. I'm just saying. So they have to make sure how strong Adam Warlock is. So it's gonna be interesting to see him later in the future.
Jason, in this scene, ain't no way you looking at this and thinking, oh, the Guardians got it. No, I'm sorry.
No, I didn't look at it like that. I'm just saying, like, they look like they can hold their own as a group. They couldn't do it by themselves, but as a group, they tried.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I said y'all fucked. Oh, by the way, adult
warning.
Right. Yeah, there we go. Look, Jason. he He was tearing them up. I was just like, how are y'all going to defeat this man? Like, he fucked Rocket up. Quill, he hung over, so he can't really do much. Nebula probably was well, no, I'm not. Drax was definitely.
Drax is strong. I think he was the strongest.
Drax was getting his ass beat. Like
he
Adam
got
Warlock
punked.
was going
He cut,
in on his face.
He cut Groot head off.
He turned Groot into a damn. I said,
stump.
And Groot couldn't even talk. That's how fucked up Groot was. Groot just looked at dude that
Kraglin.
uses the wand. That's his Kraglin. That's his name.
Yeah, Kraglin.
This motherfucker right here. I'm over here like.
In the way they used comedy in this movie, it was perfect. Like if you like, they had like the perfect balance between dark and light, because it was funny. After all this, like in the midst of all this chaos that he's caused, he tries to do the Yondu spear, and it just goes across his face. He was like, "Who did that? Who freaking baby?" And then the lady like kind of crying, like, "Hey, you just shut up. I ain't trying. I'm not trying to get caught."
So I love this part. I shouldn't have loved this character. I enjoyed Adam Warlock's character.
I was going to ask you, how did you feel about the portrayal? You guys' portrayal of him.
Oh, well, I don't really know too much about him from the comics, so I'm not exactly sure of how his character is supposed to be. But from this film, I completely enjoyed it.
Well, I more so meant the actor, not the actual character. How did you like his portrayal?
It. But I like him. I love him in the movies that I've seen him in, movies or series, like because he can sometimes play that serious role, and then of course comedic because he was in We're the Millers. Yeah. So I always remember him in that, and so I wasn't exactly sure what he was going to bring to the table in this movie, but I enjoyed it a lot. Like when I saw him on in every scene, I was just like, "What this motherfucker about to say?" Because like he was just so foolish. But then Nebula was able to come through, stab him in the back, and he was like, "Oh, that hurt." He was like, "Let me go, because I don't like this feeling." And so he was, for some reason, nobody saw him leave.
He dipped out, out of there. But he's like but he's basically like a newborn baby. He's like Vision 2.0, basically.
Vision seemed like he had more sense than Adam Warlock.
He does. He was he was made by the Infinity Stone, as well as Tony, as well as AI. So it's a completely different thing. And we've seen high evolutionary creation. So I mean, this is probably, him and Rocket are probably the best two of the things that he put his hands on. But yeah, but that's what that's what it's supposed to feel like. Let me just say, like a Vision 2.0, because he's learning the world still.
I'm gonna say he's a great value Vision that's on sale.
Not the white Vision? You don't think that's the great value Vision?
Nah, because he got educated in WandaVision. So his value went up. Now we don't know where he at. Haven't seen him, but he's supposed to have a series come through. But hopefully he added some color, because walking around with all that white, they're gonna try to give him a hood. All right. But so we see Rocket get injured, and it's straight panic mode of like what's happening to Rocket, and they were trying to save his life, and he had a fail safe on his heart. So like when you saw this, like what were your thoughts? Because I'm not gonna lie, coming into this movie, I was expecting everybody to die. That was where I was at. I was like, everybody dying. We just need to figure out how you dying and what order you dying. But I'm like, everybody's dying. So
I didn't think everybody was dying. I definitely had Rocket out of here though. I felt like he was gonna be the one that died, because he's been the most complicated person of them all. Regardless of how you look at Quill and his relationship with being on Earth to becoming a Ravager and things like that, Rocket has always been the one that's kind of been like, he's been standoffish, and then he kind of opened up to them, and now he got cool with them. So it's been completely different. So it's like I've always wanted to see like a central focus on him, because I mean, you have everybody, but everybody was pivotal. And the growth of each of these people has been important over the series as well. But yeah, and when they put that on him, I was just like, man, I was like, this is, it's raps for Rocket. Like he not making it out this movie.
Yeah, because I wasn't exactly sure of the background of the villain. I had no idea where this movie would even center around. And I think I told you, I was just like, and I'll just keep it real. I wasn't like amped up for this film to release. I wasn't like, oh, I can't wait till Guardians drops. I was like, it drops, I'll go see it. But I was just like, I didn't have any type of expectation like I did for Ant-Man. Because we talked about the Marvel movies that we were excited to see. Guardians wasn't on my list.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it was on my list, but I like the first two movies, like you can pick which one you like better between Guardians 1 and Guardians 2. And I feel like both of those movies are well produced, the stories are pretty good in both of them. And I feel like they're great to me, they're great to excellent. Like you can pick um within them, and it's just super dope. There's a trilogy that way. And like just tailored in them, and they all all of them play on your emotions. Like yeah.
I definitely I agree with that. And I hate that I wasn't giving them, and this is one of my moments of apologies. I apologize to the Guardians for not giving them the respect that they deserve, because I love the first two movies. I absolutely love the first two movies, and I'm just like, I should have expected the same type of energy, if not more, into this one. So my excitement, my anticipation for this movie should have been a lot higher than what it was. And the fact that I went in there and left out of there was just loved it. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, too soon for me to say that. But
so was it? I mean, so was your expectation tailored because of the trailer that happened, or was it just the other things you're more excited for?
No, I think it's just because it was the trilogy and I knew James Gunn was going to DC. So I was like, okay, their story arc is ending. And the chances of it connecting to anything else in phase 5 might not be as much. Like Ant-Man. We know Ant-Man introduced Kang. And we know with Black Panther, that's the second film. So they're going to still be used later on when we go through phase 5. I wasn't seeing that much for Guardians because, like I told you, the expectation, I thought everybody was dying. So I was just like, okay, it's completing a story that I'm just like, they're in the outer space. They're not really connecting to everybody else. Because realistically, the Guardians never really storyline intertwined with anybody else. So they were just on their own, doing their own thing.
Do you count Thor: Love and Thunder in that? Like when Thor started riding with them?
No, I completely forgot they was in that shit.
Yeah,
completely forgot.
It was a brief little cameo.
It probably wasn't needed, but since we saw him leave with them, then it's like, okay, we got to go ahead and tie this up to where it's no like open plot holes. But yeah, so then we see they're on an adventure to try to go save Rocket. But yeah, so how do you feel about where they were headed and where they got to?
So this is when they okay, so this is when they're trying to get inside the little layer, right? They're trying to get into
that weird
which it look weird, but that's James Gunn. Like that felt like that. What's that, Slither? That's what that looked like. That whole like that
I've
weird
seen that movie.
Yeah, like the little slug thing, whatever that was. That's what that looked like when that was on top of there trying to cut to get inside of
it was
to
just
infiltrate
nasty. It looked like somebody with really gross skin.
That's what that thing looked like. Whatever that thing is slithered. But before we get there, we get a Gamora sighting, as well as Rocky. Rocky popped up too. Like I guess he didn't make it to the Creed fight, but he made it to the Guardian sighting.
Oh, I was like, should I mention that? But I was like, nah, let me not be petty. Let me not be petty. It's like, for real. Oh, all right. But yeah, so it was funny because when Nebula said I have a inside connect, she didn't say those words to try to get to that organism planet. I immediately was like, it's probably Gamora. Because I was like, it's gotta be.
I wasn't even thinking. I didn't even think nothing. Like at no point I thought nothing. Whenever they did that,
I was like, it's gotta be Gamora. Because I'm like, Nebula, you ain't got no friends.
True. I mean, you think she had no? Well, the Thanos clique, they gone. So now you're right.
Who wants to hang out with any of the people who rode with Thanos? So I was just like, it's got to be Gamora. And so when we finally realized it, it was funny when Quinn finally saw her. And he looked at Nebula, was like, "Why didn't you ever tell me?" And she was just like, "Well, I didn't want you to have no kind of emotional reaction to his voice." His voice crack. He said, "But I won't." Oh, yo, Quill and Gamora, their engagement, interactions during this entire movie, top tier. I loved it. It was so
Yeah.
petty. It was so childish because I'm like, y'all shouldn't be doing this at this moment, but keep going.
It's Quill though. He kept he kept pushing it. Like he just kept trying to make her be somebody that she wasn't. It's just like, Quill, bro, you gotta relax.
He couldn't get it through his head. Like, you could tell me all you want about the version of me that was in this timeline. That's not who I am. I don't know any of those memories. So it's like either you're gonna try to make her fall in love with you again, but you're doing a way too much, or just get over her, find you another one. What would you do if you was in Quill's situation?
So as far as time has passed since Endgame, I guess how many I wonder how many years has it been since. So like that's that I guess that's where I would look at it, because but I don't know, I guess accepting that she's not there no more, or accepting that, there's a version of her out there, it's just not the version that you was in love with. I mean, that'd be a hard pill to swallow. And
I
then you
think,
gotta work with her as well. Well, not necessarily you didn't have to work with her, but her sister brought her in, and now you having to work with her. It's just like,
but he was still drinking and stuff because I believe Endgame was 4 years ago, 4 years ago, which means Endgame was 5 years ago. So let's just say it's been 3 years.
it's still. I don't know, man. Grief is horrible, and you
Yeah,
never. I mean, it never truly stops. Uh,
they
so
should have got him some hoes.
he didn't want them. That one go that sometimes, and that's just a lot of times that's just temporary help. It's not really or truly help at all.
Some better than nothing. No.
But they get these suits. They get the Orgo suits so they can blend in when they make it. And of course, Drax, he's like, yeah, I did this color don't match my eyes. It was like, man, we don't. You gonna wear this suit and y'all gonna infiltrate this team, because if you don't, they gonna take y'all out. So whatever y'all do, everybody got to wear this suit. And like, they were people was when they first seeing the trailer, they were like, oh man, they looking like Among
Among
Us.
Us.
They had the suits, but they said it was a 2001 Space Odyssey. A
I was
2001 Space Odyssey Easter egg, actually. That's what James said.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna lie. I actually thought it was a callback because there's a scene in the movie towards the end where Gamora is going through a backpack and it has the 5 little characters from Pac-Man, and
Okay.
it's the different colors. And I
Okay.
saw it was on the book bag, and I was like, damn, they're the same colors from the suits. I
Okay.
was
I
just
like
like,
that.
could it have been from that? Because I mean, I feel like Among Us, like, nah, but if you do Pac-Man, because this movie, when Quill was snatched up, that just seemed like something that Quill would be interested in. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, Pac-Man would have been dope. But if he said that it was something else, then it's probably that. But
Oh yeah, no,
I
yeah,
saw that
James.
I saw it on the book bag, and I was like, those remind me of the suits. I was like, oh, that would be dope if that's what it was. But
Yeah, now James one of the people that's actively on social media, and he's going to address anything that gets said, and he's pulling up like, oh, what? No, we didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. This is the truth in that matter. But we got one of your moments. You were just speaking about Quill and Gamora. They trying to infiltrate, but they have these suits, and of course they have these different colors to be able to communicate with each other, which I don't know how they were supposed to figure out what's supposed to be what, because nobody seemed to know what was
everybody
the.
knew. Everybody knew but Quill.
No,
Everybody knew.
Mantis didn't.
Mantis don't know a lot of shit. So
But if Drax know, come on. If Drax knew, like
Drax got his flowers in this movie.
he did.
So,
He
but nah,
did.
I thought this scene was hilarious.
It was.
Like, he just sitting there talking to her. And that's how like, all of them outside of Gamora, like, they're a team, they're a family. Because they had an interaction of them talking, Gamora and Quill. Everybody can hear this. And was it Mantis that was just like, we can hear you. We can hear everything you're saying. He's like, well, why didn't you tell me? And then Nebula was like, I was hoping it would stop. Like, and then here go Jax. Drax is just like bashing him because Drax did something similar in Guardians Volume 2 when Mantis was reading his emotions, and when Mantis was like, you're in love and sexually interested in her. And then Drax was like, she told your deepest, darkest secret. Like, he just blows up the spot. Drax always blows up the spot.
Every time.
And it was just so awkward. They were just like, can we not do this now? Because we are trying to get into this place to save our friend. Save this shit for later.
And it was nice to see. Then Drax was like, well, the color, these are the colors, and you press this for that, press that. She was like, no, that's not true, Drax. It's this color. He said, well, okay, try it. And then, of course, whatever one she pressed, she yells and just goes straight to Quill. And he's just like, man, stop. And they finally cut. They get inside the spaceship of Orgo. We get, well, kind of, I don't know if that guy's going to be important, but I've seen him in other things. The Master.
The dude that was like, the leader, yeah,
they call him Master. He's talking to his team, and I look at Jazz like, yeah, nah. Call him Captain.
Right. Why it's gotta be Master?
So he's sitting here, he's talking to his team, he's telling them, but have you ever had somebody do this to you? Like, you just talking about something and you're like, I just made that up. Why you agree with it? Like, you don't even know, like, you really don't know what I'm talking about.
I've never had nobody that sit there and be like, oh, I thought you said something else. And it's like, how did you think I was talking about something else when I was clear with what I was saying? So have I had people to go along with what I was saying and wasn't paying any attention? Yes, absolutely. Because then when you ask them a question, they just give you some broad response or answer. And I just be like, you don't know what the fuck I just said, do you?
That's me. That's one of my people, especially when I'm sleeping, don't ask me nothing. Like, if I tell you, if you know I'm sleeping, people be talking, I'd be like, yeah.
Have you ever done that on the pod?
Once. It's been once.
I feel like I called it a few times on the pod. I ain't dropping no names or no episodes. Y'all got to go back and listen. But I'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I for sure for once. I know for sure once because I was out of there. I was out of there.
It's hard for me because I just be like, oh shit, I don't got no fluff. And I'll be like, repeat the question. And hopefully you repeat it slow enough for me to come up with a fake answer. But if not, I just be like, oh, I'm not sure.
But then they make it inside the place. But of course, once they make it in there, the security gets they get notification. I guess whatever they have, what kind of system they have, which makes sense for them to be able to be on top of their stuff. They're like, so there's an anomaly going on in this room. Can y'all go and check it? So they go to the room, they check it out. Of course, the Guardians are in there. They've already switched out to their suits, but they mistakenly have thrown their spacesuits out the door. Which is I don't know if everybody can read that language, but I mean I'm sure somebody could. Obviously, somebody read it, and they didn't say anything.
It was Gamora, but I feel like you had 20 seconds to react, or you was gonna get caught. And then even if you didn't put your suits in there, where were they gonna go?
Yeah.
So I was just like, I know y'all was upset with Mantis, but was there any other spot? No. Then I was just like, y'all giving her hell right now. Like, yeah, y'all, I get it, your suits are outside in space, but you can still try to get the documents that you need because nobody suspects you. But if you didn't put your suits in there, then it's like, y'all screwed. Yeah,
because they would have seen the suits, then it would have been an all-out brawl, and that would have been kind of probably an ugly situation.
I would have acted like I don't know where them shits came from. I'd be like, y'all see them? Whose suits are those? That's kind of strange. I never saw none of them suits before in my life.
Yeah, so the team, they finally get out. They split up. Gamora, Nebula, and the Star-Lord. They go to the records. They go to the record room. Mantis and Drax. They went to go figure out where they can land, right? They went to go figure out how to actually get the ship, where the ship can actually land. In here, but we have more banter between Gamora and Quill at this point, where they're talking about he's talking about how his charm will work on this Uma lady as they're going through. What you think about with Quill trying to lay it on for this young lady?
Sis gave him the straightest face in the world. Like, what are you doing? Where did you come from? Like, what is all of this? And it was funny because he was doing and saying all of this, and then here go Gamora. She's like, nah, I ain't got time for all that shit. Gamora go ahead and pull her gun on sis. And then that's when Quill was just like, you don't have to do all of that. She's like, yeah, no, I'm not wasting all my time with this. Sis, we gonna go ahead and hold you up. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed Gamora's character. I enjoyed new Gamora because she was just like, she's not with the nonsense. Because if you think about it, the other Gamora was like all peaceful. We're not gonna kill. This one, nah, she's like, look, bodies can drop. I do not care. But I thought this scene was dope because you see them go to where all of the creatures are made, all the different species that were made on that wall. And so I was just like, whoa, like how many are out there? And how many did this individual create? And so they were just like trying to give her, I believe, like an ID number or some number that they were able to get from the device, trying to figure out the access code. And they were able to get one, and it was landing in some slime. I'm like, can y'all wipe this shit down? Y'all ain't got no Clorox wipes.
I mean, they Guardians of the Galaxy, so they used to this weird, freaky, kinky, whatever it was that was going on.
Yeah, but I was like, Quill, you picked that up.
Exactly, he did. I mean, he the one that was holding it. But of course, they get outed. Everybody gets outed in here, and this man, I think the crowd wasn't laughing with me, but I was laughing a lot in this movie. They weren't laughing enough for me because when at this point they got outed. I think it started with Drax and Mantis, and she was like, "Run, let's run." He was like, "No, fight." She's like, "No, listen, oh my God, now we gotta fight." And she but I love, that's one thing that they brought up in their Christmas special. We learned that Mantis actually has abilities. We know she can put you to sleep, but I didn't know she was as agile. She had super speed and all these different things, because you see her, like, she just jump in the air and just straight drop kick the guy out the air. And I'm just like, whoa. But you wouldn't know that if you didn't see the Christmas special when they were chasing Kevin Bacon down the street, just wild, looking like she's like something out of a Man in Black. That's what she looked like, the way she was moving or maneuvering. But go ahead.
I was gonna say another scene I forgot to mention is when they got through to the security guard. And so like Mantis and Drax, even though they argue all the time and bicker all the time, their chemistry is amazing because they were trying to get through, and Mantis was like, "You are in deep love with him." And Drax's reaction was like, "Fuck, not again." And so like the security guard was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" Drax was, and I love Drax. He didn't get aggressive with it. He was just like, "She do this shit all the time." He was like, "Not again." He was like,
"Again,
I'm Drax the Destroyer." Like I love that because I'm like, okay, every time y'all go out, it's the same thing. And so then they got through, and he was just like, "Oh, my name is such and such," and then Drax was like, and Mantis is just laughing because
it felt like that felt real. That felt like a real. Like, I wonder if there was like her could, like, she couldn't, like, she couldn't, like, it looked as if she couldn't hold her composure the way she was trying to hold that laughing.
Yeah, I don't think that was staged at all. I think she was just like laughing real life, because because realistically, like, you got the Christmas special and then you have Infinity War. But outside of the first movie, Volume 2, when they first met, those two projects is when you see their chemistry and their back and forth. And so like every time she always tried to be nice to Drax, and he'd just be like, like he always give her shit. But it was just, I love their chemistry. I love their pairing for sure.
Yeah, like that made me think about when he was eating them chips or Zarg nuts, and he offered Quill some. He was like, "I wanted a Zarg nut," and he was like, "There ain't no more." He keep eating them.
I'm just sitting here like, yo, Mantis gonna beat your ass. Like,
she should have, man. But this scene, it pops off. They're inside the room. They're fighting. with these people. They're getting the best of them in the beginning. They are getting the
Yeah.
best of them, and it pans over or goes over into where Gamora and them are in their room. And it was like, we gotta kill somebody. Make make an example of the Carrot Top dude.
Why did Gamora do that? Yo, he was scared for his life. I'm like, you didn't have to do him like that, because once they were able to leave, he was like, I was like, yo, he's trying to go home to his family. Gamora,
Man,
you
he
gotta
was just
chill.
like, bro, what's up?
Yeah, but now when Gamora put like the gun up to Sis, she did what needed to be done in that situation, because I'm not gonna lie, I was like, y'all not getting out of this. It was like 20 guards.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, y'all about to be gone. And wasn't this the scene, or before all the guards came, wasn't it the scene where they were having the back and forth, Quill and
Gamora.
Gamora, of like, we used to be in love and she died and it's my fault, like we were supposed to kill this Titan, and then you have Nebula like, he missed a few details, but that's the gist of it. Like, this is not the time for this, Quill.
Man, that was the perfect time for him, but we obviously know he doesn't care about the time, because if it's something on his mind or he thinking about it, that's what's getting addressed.
I know a lot of people say they try to come up with excuses as to why Quill they was just like, you gotta understand all the people that Quill lost, which is why he reacted in Infinity War. Fuck all of that. I'm sorry, you lost all those people. But he's trying to kill half of civilization. You don't need to be jumping on him or like beating his ass. Like, we almost got it. I blame Quill for Infinity War, but if it didn't happen, then we wouldn't have gotten Endgame.
Correct.
So,
Correct. I mean, I definitely he was definitely at fault. There's no buck to be passed. It was him. Like they had it. He didn't care. So,
but since Strange saw all those scenarios, he had to have seen Quill do that. He had to. He had to see.
I think
he
so.
Had to. So hypothetically, even though we don't have proof of this, but let's just go off, assumptions. He saw that situation and saying, Quill, do not attack Thanos. I don't think it would have been, y'all were able to get the gauntlet off of him and then survive. I think that was probably just one of the visions that Strange probably saw. He was just like, yeah, he has to hit on Thanos and then Mantis not be able to control him anymore and him to react the way that he did. So that's why that's normally when I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna give Quill some take the gas off. I'm gonna get off his neck a little bit, because I'm like, Strange probably saw that scenario playing out and then it just wasn't no possible solution from it.
Yeah, I mean, he said that whenever he, especially when he came back in Endgame, when he was talking to Tony, he said 1 in a million chance, right? So they knew, like, they're in that situation. This is what has to happen. He has to give up the stone, or whatever was going to happen. It had to happen. There was no other way. So he tried another way just to see, but it didn't. But this is one of them things that, like I said, when I say music was pivotal, the reason comes on. You have the reason playing. And during the reason, like I said, Drax and Mantis are taking care of these. They cleaning shop, and I love how she was using her power. She was like, you're a kitten, and you see the guy fall out. He playing like a kitten, and then he goes to the second guy. He said, "You dancing," and he just sitting there, like he, and he goes to
Offbeat as hell, and he was black. I'm like, sir.
He had his own 2-step in his head that he was going to. And the last lady, she showed her to go crazy. And she was just shooting everybody in the room.
Yeah. But I will say, this scene was cool because didn't Groot brought the ship in and Groot turned the music on. Groot, as soon as he got in the driver's seat, he's like, all of us, let me make sure my music is good before I leave where I'm at. He turned it on. He got it in there. He can't drive, but everybody's focus in this entire group was my entrance fire.
Everybody. That's their thing. Like that was their thing. Everybody had to have I just thought about that. Everybody had. Did Drax have? I don't think he did, because he said, "You remember I bust the door down." when they were about to freeze when they was in the outer space. He was like, you enjoy me busting the door down.
Yeah. So Drax, Mantis,
Nebula was.
Quill.
I think Nebula was when she pulled up on Adam Warlock. I don't. Well, I guess you can consider that the introduction. She put the space thing flew up in the air, and he showed she upgraded her hand. I felt like that could have been one, but it was. I mean, it's a little different compared to how everybody else. I feel like it was more of when they bust through something.
Did she
That's it.
mention her intro?
She didn't. Nah, she didn't.
Then I can't give it to her. Everybody else mentioned. Everybody else mentioned an intro. So maybe Nebula and Rocket didn't. Well, Rocket was out of here for the whole movie.
For the most
thinking
movie.
About it.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. That's dope.
Yeah, I did. That's another. Like I said, they were paying a lot of attention to detail, but the music fades out and Drax gets shot, and this was like the second Guardian. We just like, bro, we gonna lose. We finna lose everybody. He get busted. He gets hit in the stomach.
Would you have tried to carry him out of there if you was Mantis?
I would have. I mean, yeah, because that's what they it was. They're not the group to be like, we leaving the man behind. They always try to make sure they person taken care of. You leaving
Jason. If you were Mantis,
I'm taking him. Oh, okay. I'm getting him.
Right. That's what's up. All right. Okay.
But you leaving him? What you doing?
Drax is huge compared to Mantis. I'm be like,
you think she got superpowers? Like no super strength a little bit?
Does she have like strength to where she's able to carry him solo? Because he got shot in the front and the back.
He did. I don't, man.
He got both.
He got messed up. But then Nebula, she got hit too, and she was spitting up oil. I guess that wasn't even blood, like oil.
Yeah. She the oil change. Nebula got fucked up in this movie. I'm not gonna lie. Nebula.
Man, when Adam Warlock was knocking he broke a jaw, broke an arm, broke everything. Was just twisted. She was like, man, somebody tried to help her. She was like, get off, and she correcting everything herself.
I'd be mad as shit if I try to help her and she's like, get off. Like, well, fuck you then, bitch. Let me go back to my corner then. And it was funny because then we see Quill is able to talk to the lady that they had held up, and he's just like, we're just trying to save our friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gamora's like, she's not gonna listen. He's like, if she hears it from my heart. And I was just like, okay, this is cheesy, but I'm glad that it pivoted to where it went. He was like, you think I'm that stupid? And so he just controlled everybody's suits, and he just like got them flying, and then they were able to get out of the control room where they were. So I definitely enjoyed that. And then you got the scene of them carrying Drax and then Nebula, and they're able to escape. Because I'm like, y'all about to die. It was just too many like soldiers around for me to think they're gonna survive. But the Guardians always find a way.
They gonna find a way. And we go into a flashback scene after this. So we haven't really talked about Rocket because Rocket is incapacitated right now. Rocket is down. So a lot of his stuff was more so flashbacks. So I want to go back to, I guess, the beginning. The first time we see Rocket as a kid or as a little bitty, the beginning, they I guess he gets selected. So the next time we see him, he's been operated on, he's crying, he's saying hurt. How you feel about this? We get introduced to Rocket the first time, and then we see his friends.
I thought it was so heartbreaking. And I know like we never got too much of what happened to Rocket. So I appreciated what we were getting from this. I appreciate the flashbacks.
Man.
And I think the flashbacks were very important. I'm not gonna lie. That rabbit was creepy as fuck. But the otter and the walrus, y'all cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Y'all cool. And so like just seeing Rocket just so scared and they talking, he just like, I don't know if I can understand y'all, but obviously Rocket could. And so they're all speaking to each other and just letting him know like you're amongst friends. The otter ain't got no arms, robot arms. And I'm just sitting here like, you gotta be a sick ass motherfucker like to be operating on animals like this. So why would you think to put a walrus with wheels?
Yeah.
And not just give him legs? But I guess you gotta have thick robotic legs to give a walrus because that's a very big animal. So it's like, we got these 2 bike wheels over here. Let's see what we can do with that. And so you got so many animals in here. And I thought the connection that we were seeing from them in the bond, I was just like, okay. But then I was just like,
It's not
I
gonna
ain't
be.
seen none of y'all in none of these movies. So I already know y'all definitely gonna die. But I was just, it was sad. Like, I was like, damn. Like, how did you feel about it when you saw it?
It was tough. Every flashback team was tough because you was like, man, when is he going to turn? Like when
Yeah.
what's going to happen within that? And then it kind of we get the next flashback after that was Rocket and High Evolutionary. They're looking at the world, and he was like, he's teaching them. Look at the sky. He was telling them how to say certain words a certain way, but Rocket was kind of like country or something. I don't know how Rocket talked the way he talked, but it was kind of like country. Just based on the people he was around, you felt like it would have sounded like them.
You trying to say
So
Rocket was from Houston?
Houston Rockets, I like that. I like that. I like
Okay.
that. So yeah, so it was just dope. He's going through, he's looking at, he's like, oh, Rocket. So it was just you can see different little tidbits. Um, and I think this is like the first time we really was it not what do we see High Evolutionary? Well, before that we really didn't see here of High Evolutionary besides when he was operating and you just hear him talking like that, but we actually see High Evolutionary here. What are you thinking about this
Is
this
is that his name?
yeah, High Evolutionary? What you thought his name was?
I don't know. I was going to ask you because I don't remember nobody saying it.
They said it a whole bunch.
Oh shit. My bad. All right, High Evolutionary. So when I first saw him, I was curious how his face got how it was from where we see it in present time. And then when we see
Mm-hmm.
the flashbacks, I was just like, oh, something must have happened. But I definitely didn't like his character at all whatsoever. But his dialogue and his reaction and his passion. Now, I root for everybody black, villains or not. But this one, nah, player. I wasn't rooting for you at all. No point in this movie. And I don't know, it's because he was over here operating on animals or not. I don't know what it was, but I was just, but he did a great fucking job in this
He
role.
he did.
I will
He
definitely
did.
give him that because when you have this scene to where he was talking to Rocket and he was like, I want to show you something. And so he was showing Rocket the capsule of how they create the new creatures
Mm-hmm.
for the new
Mm-hmm.
world and they throw a turtle in there. And I was like, oh, but I'm like, nah, they're gonna end up fucking up this turtle. And so you see what type of experiments that they're doing. And Turtle starts off cool and then it gets stupid aggressive. And then Rocket is able to tell them what they should do. And so I guess as a creator, he was just like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Him and his pawns was just like, okay, let's try that out. But the fact is, he probably thought it had it in the back of his mind. I created this creature. So how is this creature
That
able to
wasn't
teach me?
that was in the back of his mind. Remember,
Well,
he he
front,
he he said. Remember, he said it at some point. Which, like, as far as like, I'm probably gonna have to do like a rewatch of just Marvel,
right.
period. And I've seen it twice, so it is a little bit different for me versus you fresh off of first watch. But like as far as the complexities of a villain, he's probably my favorite. I feel like
Really?
because like the stuff he was saying, and it had like a racial undertone to it to a certain extent because he was like, I want them to be soft like you, and it was just like, wait, why are you trying to take all these violent animals and make them less violent to look a certain way? Because he was trying to push this whole narrative of the perfect earth, right? Which we find out what a perfect earth looks like.
I still don't know what that shit look like.
uh,
I'm
this whole thing. So it was just like certain things. He was just like, so you remember he was teaching Rocket, the music was playing. He said, this song here is like 5,000 years old and it comes from a certain place. And he said, it's basically saying, be not as you are, but as you should be. So it was like his whole thing, and that was like the theme of the entire movie, like this accepting yourself. Basically, that's accepting yourself is what the movie was about. But like his whole thing was he didn't like a certain thing. He just wanted to make it allegedly better based on his standard of it,
Right.
which nothing. I mean, all them animals look like stuff from Toy Story. Like he looked like he was Sid in the backyard putting stuff, just piecing stuff together. Like, man, come on, man. Lila had no arms, no legs. It was just body and the head.
And that damn floor had no mouth. How are you talking? See, that shit just built and spider legs? How you put spider legs on a fucking rabbit? Yo, he was definitely channeling his Sid energy. He was watching Toy Story heavy.
Big
Like,
Sid
that's
energy.
a really, really good connection. And it's crazy because of how he saw it. He felt like, I'm trying to make a better creation. And then he forgets the fact that every creature, every species is flawed. There's no way you're going to make anything that's not flawed. And so he sees that and he's just like, let's just get rid of it. Let's start. Number 2. Shit, let me catch up. But so, and he was just like, to him, Rocket was just, you're a stepping stone. Not even seeing Rocket as a living, breathing creature, a very intelligent creature that's telling you how to make the, I guess, new world type of species better. And so I feel like he definitely had some envy towards Rocket with that.
Oh, facts. That's facts.
Because you and none of your people figured that out. But I also appreciate when we saw Rocket in these flashbacks, he was collecting different pieces
Every time.
every time. So Rocket knew, even though he may not wanted to believe it, because we also see a scene before Adam Warlock came and tried to fuck him up. He had that piece in his pocket and he
He
looked at
kept
it
it.
and it was giving him memories. And so I looked at, I was just like, okay, this definitely got to be referenced later. And we do see what it actually was, but he was still keeping it. And so, like, you have a creature that's this intelligent. Because I mean, we've seen Rocket through all these movies. Rocket is a fucking genius. Like, realistically.
Nah,
And
he's been that guy like since the beginning.
yeah. Yeah, he just his arrogance and the fact that he doesn't want anybody treating him like he's a rodent
Exactly.
is when he snaps on you.
Which
But
is which is funny. They call him every different type of animal except a raccoon.
and this was the first movie where he finally said
Except
he was a raccoon.
he accepted himself. I mean, I
Yeah,
said it was just the thing about him is acceptance.
right.
Uh, which it kind of played like a theme with, uh, like in Quill too, because Quill was running from his life the entire time. So I mean, it just a lot of those are different emotions, and we do have this scene where we said their names, but they went ahead and they named themselves. And it was like when we get to this new world, we need names. We can't just be numbers. And everybody gives their name. And like I said, I love that entire a lot of times flashbacks they kill movies and TV shows. One of the biggest ones that I can think of is Arrow. Oh my god! Whenever you did Arrow, like the flashback, and they it got so bad that they had to come out like, "Hey, we're done with flashbacks this season. Like everything is ending now," so they stopped doing them. But it was just like bro, y'all are slowing the show down with doing this, but in this one, it really guided us pretty well. So after this, we find out it comes back to the reality, and we find out what really happened to Rocket. And like, man, it was like everybody was like in tears, like the entire
Yeah.
crew, even Nebula. And like seeing Nebula where she is from where she began, that was amazing to see. That was amazing to see.
Her character development, man. And I know like all of them definitely had a lot of character development, but I think I enjoyed Nebula's character development a lot more than everybody else's. And it was a scene at the end where that happened with Nebula, and I was over here in the theater like, I'm a thug, I'm a thug, I'm a thug. Like, I was like, all right, get off Nebula real quick. But and I appreciate them not actually showing us what happened, don't show me what they're seeing, but I appreciate y'all giving me the audio, and I appreciate me seeing the reaction from the other characters. Because Mantis was done. Mantis was in like full-blown tears. And the fact that I believe Nebula even said, she said, he went through worse than what my father put me through. Exactly. And we know all the stuff Thanos put Nebula through. Like, he was just treating Nebula like she was just a random ass Lego toy to pull apart randomly. And I don't think people pull apart Lego toys. So that's probably not the right toy. But y'all know what I'm trying to say. But like, Nebula's looking at this. And then Mantis was like, now I see why he never told us about his past. Told us what he went through. And so that fueled them on so many different levels. And they're just like, nah, we gotta go handle this. And then that was when Gamora was like, yeah, can y'all drop me off? I ain't got nothing to do with this. And it was like, nah.
Just place around the corner. You stop me by there for y'all.
Would you have dropped her off? Because I'd be like, look, bitch.
Nah, you win this now. We in this, we the Guardians of the Galaxy at this point.
Right.
Nah, ain't none of that.
But then you also see Nebula stand up to Gamora in defense of Quill, excuse me.
And so you sound like Gamora right now.
Hey, look.
She said, I'm not him quitting. It's Quill. I'm sorry. It's Quill.
That's how you know sis is over you or just don't know you, when she's over here messing up the name. But yeah, so it's funny. And we also see the character of Gamora and Nebula, they're switched.
It has.
In a certain way.
But Nebula said Gamora used to be like that, though. She was like, but y'all trying to make me like I'm the villain. It was always her. I think Gamora just didn't agree with how Thanos is doing things then. So it always kind of rubs her the wrong way in that. But then learning that her daddy killed her for what he wanted, that definitely would have set me to a different path.
Scared straight. Wait, he did what? Oh, that's kind of fucked up. Like, nah. But I will say, one person we have not touched on is the High Priestess Aisha.
Who's that?
That's Adam Warlock mama.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't touch on that whole yet, because we come to find out that what's the black dude name? His long ass name?
High Evolutionary.
Let me just call him High. So we come to find out High created her species.
He did.
And so, like, he just creating different species. And so he's talking to her. Now, sis look like she just been struggling on a struggle bus, because she doesn't have her minions around her. She doesn't have her suit, her hair out. Look like she ain't combed that shit in weeks or years. And she's just talking to High Evolutionary. Let me just call it High Evolutionary. And she was just like, Adam went too early. He's just a child. And Adam is sitting there like, I don't know what you want me to do about this.
This is actually an important scene, because we see how strong High Evolutionary actually is.
Right, because Adam Warlock is somebody that, even when we saw him in Guardians Volume 2, we saw, he about to fuck some shit up. And he fucked some shit up at the beginning of this movie. So when we see High Evolutionary just pull him to the wall, because Adam didn't understand the importance of him. Because he was about to defend his mama, and he just like, yeah, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and push you up to this wall, like you gonna sit your ass down.
I love that, because they had to make sure they assume make sure you see what the dominance was. So they introduce you with Adam first. So Adam, we see the Guardians came. It's 18 of them, the whole town. They couldn't handle this one guy. So him being in that room with High Evolutionary, like, I'm the strongest in the room. So once he did that, you like, oh, the Guardians what can they do with this guy? Like, what's really gonna happen with this?
That's why I was like, y'all definitely dying, all of y'all. And the fact that, like, High Evolutionary was talking to High Priestess Aisha, and he was like,
"That's her name."
Yes, the reason why I know that is because I have Guardians Volume 2 on right now, and Quill said that. That heifer name is Aisha. I don't know why her name is Aisha. I just like, why.
Did they rob her? Like, they robbed her in 2. That's why she was chasing them.
They took those batteries from her, which we also have a callback from Volume 2 in this film.
Is that what them big things was?
Yes.
Okay. See, I was wondering. Okay. I told you, if you watch back, I'm like, it ties to a lot of the movies. Like James Gunn, that man, I said it earlier, he needs to be studied. Cause that dude, his mind is in that, cause he was one.
You trying to study him like how evolutionary was trying to study
He
Rocket?
needs to be, yes, he need to be broken down. Like,
I do not support anything that Jason just said. I don't think anybody needs to be studied. Not at all. Jazz don't support that at all. Yo, you wow for that.
Cause like James, like when he did this, what was it? Ah man, I lost the point I was trying to make with how he did it.
Because those creatures, because the thing is, like with those creatures, we got them in the introduction to Volume 2, and because they eat the batteries, which I completely forgot. And so when we find out at the end of this, I'm just sitting here like, Manta's about to get her ass ate, not in a good way. So, but when I was looking at 2, I was like, oh, okay. But there were a lot of callbacks to the first movies, and it didn't feel like it was forced. It all felt natural. It felt so natural, because I'm sitting here like, these creatures scary as hell, and I'm sitting here like, it's the first time of me seeing them. But I was like, wait,
they seen these before?
Seen these little ugly motherfuckers before? Because the thing is, when I first saw them in this movie, have you seen the movie The Faculty? It's a movie that
with Usher, right?
Yeah, it looks like the creature from The Faculty when Sis was evolved into that big ass nasty shit. So when I looked at it, less teeth. No, actually, they look really similar. Oh, now I gotta get a video.
Gotta get a clip. Gotta make that a clip. Yeah, no, that was. But I love how they was talking about when they were in the spaceship prior to them taking off. And then Gamora was like, when you said she wanted to go to a different place, she like, it's a trap. He was like, it's not a trap, it's a face off. Which I love that callback at the end as well. Like when they go to he kept on saying, he said, but it's a trap. He said, no, it's not a trap because I know it's a trap. So at that point, it's just a face off. He was like, no, because you know it's a trap, it's still a trap. Like it doesn't change the fact. And then he said, you know what? The old Gamora, then this one, she kind of threw him up against the wall, and she was to put hands and feet on Quill, because she was tired of him again not accepting who she was.
Like, I don't blame her. I was tired at this point. I was like, Quill, this is not the Gamora that you remember, that you was fucking, that you was in love with.
Let it go, bro.
Let it go, bro. Like, you forcing something that's not there. I can see if you were trying to take the steps to have her fall in love with you again. You weren't doing that. You just like, oh, but the old you. Anybody else would be like, bro, that's not me. That's not who I am.
He thought it was like 50 First Dates or whatever that movie was, when a girl hit her head and she forgot herself.
Yeah, 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, he just thought he was gonna get her back, just like, yeah, we a couple. Like, nah, bro, that's not how it works.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I'd be like, nah, I'm not doing that shit. Like, wait, short term gone? So he go to sleep and forget me?
Yeah, nah, it's over.
I gotta ask him his favorite color again? Yo, fuck that. Yo. Crazy, you doing that shit?
No. I ain't got that much. I have a lot of patience, but not that much. I'm good. And when we see one of Gamora, she's trying to look at her way off this ship. She need to get off this ship. She's trying to figure out a different way. She's trying to reach out to outposts. The man from the outpost that was helping her, he's captured. He's over there with the guys inside the Orgo. And they like, we need to give up the information. I'm not giving up nothing. His little animal on him, it done slid to the floor now. And they're like, well, they said, Adam, show him you mean business. And he fried this man, just straight skeleton.
To be fair, when High Priestess Aisha said, show him we not playing, Adam looked around like, I don't know what I'm supposed to show him, but I can show him what I can do, which was kill him. And she lashed out at him, was like, you were supposed to just hurt him a little bit. He was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to show him how we're not playing. And then his pet was so adorable on his little shoe. Like, I love that the pet kept coming up. And I love that Adam decided, let me get some responsibility in my life and take this pet on.
Yeah. But then they have a key. They get these coordinates which they go to counter Earth. That's the location that they're heading to. Before they get to it, Drax, he pulls up on Quill. He gives him, this analogy. And he's like, life is a pond, and you jumping from lily pad to lily pad, but you didn't learn how to swim. He was like, oh, that actually made sense. Which I kind of put Quill in the same boat as Drax as far as just their level of understanding.
Intelligence.
Yeah, level of intelligence. Same. Yep, I love that. I love that better. So I was just like, oh, he got that. And then he was like, I didn't know you know analogies. I said, yeah. Oh, I know analogies. Gamora is green like a lily pad, and he just started going through just different stuff. He was like, yeah, that's the Drax that I know. And then he looked back.
Mantis.
He see his sister. She over there just like, oh my god.
I mean, so what did that analogy mean to you? Like, what did that translate to you? That I guess if life is a lily pad and you're jumping from one, or you're jumping from one. No, wait.
You
What
can't
was he
live.
saying?
He said so. What he said is life is a pond. You've gone from woman to woman. You gotta learn how to swim. He said like a lily pad. You jumping from one to the other, and you just need to learn how to swim. So you can't live on a lily pad. Lily pad is just a place to sit or like a
Right.
place of comfort. You gotta get out there. So that's what I took from it.
Yeah. Because I guess it could be one of those things to where you can jump from lily pad to lily pad, but there might be a situation to where the lily pad might not be as stable to where you end up falling in that pond.
Bingo.
And if you can't swim, you're out of here.
Bingo.
And so being able to swim, being able to deal with those type of unexpected circumstances, you'll be able to get through life better. So that's pretty dope. I gotta
Yeah, now
send
that
somebody that. I ain't gonna tell them where I got it from though.
we get another flashback. This is where the turn happens. This is, I guess, the movie. This entire movie was the climax. So I don't know why we're saying this is the climax. Well, I'm saying it's the climax, but
Don't put me in it. You said
I said I. We make it, in, like I said, the man who played the High Evolutionary, he delivered. Like, I'm not saying that Jonathan didn't do great in Ant-Man, but this is the type of, like, these are the type of the dialogues, monologues, and things that I was looking for. I wanted from his character. So like he comes into the room, I thought he was like in the middle of procedure because like he was like on the ground crawling, like his entire performance, and he like, oh my god, where P319, 319, P319, where are you? Oh, here you go.
he's in his cage. Where you put him at the end of the day every day. Stop acting brand new. He must have took some shots. Speaking of,
yeah. Shot time. So he's talking to Rocket. He was like, hey, he pulled him out. It looked like he was upset. It looked like he was super upset. And he was like, how do you know? Because I created you and I didn't know. So what made it that you knew this situation? And Rocket is explaining to him, well, this is the reason. He started getting real technical. I'm not that technical, whatever it was. He explained it. He was like, but you're right. And then he puts, was it rabbits?
I think one was a kangaroo.
Okay, it was a kangaroo.
I think one was we got another turtle. And I don't remember what the third one was, but I feel like they brought at least 3 animals into that room.
Yeah. And he brought them up, and they came out soft. I mean, not soft, but they didn't come up aggressive. And he was looking at it, and he said, "Oh, we got the anger removed out of them." He was saying that we're going into the new world, and he was like, "We not going nowhere. You ain't gonna make it. I just need that brain up off you, player."
Bruh. I'm sitting here like, so wait. He helped you. He told you what you needed to do, what was fucking up your entire species that you were trying to create. And his homies and him not gonna be able to go because they look strange, they look experimental. Cause I'm sitting here like when we went to Counter Earth, there was some fucked up ass creatures walking around, but we ain't got there yet, but I'm gonna bring them back up.
We almost here.
And so I was just sitting here, I was like, that's fucked up. Cause he was just like, you were just a stepping stone during this process. And that's when he was just like, and he's talking to his folks. So and Rocket is there. He's like, we're gonna do the surgery tomorrow. We're gonna remove his brain. And they were asking like, what about the other ones? And he was just like, what he said, disintegrate them.
Incinerate them.
Incinerate them. Excuse me. So you about to kill his friends and take his brain? Oh nah, bruh. Nah. And I will say, because I know that you mentioned like Jonathan Major's character in Ant-Man. Do you think if he would have had the type of script and dialogue in Ant-Man that with the high level of intensity that we got in this movie, because High Evolutionary had a lot of intense moments to where it was just because he was in it a lot, of course, because he's the villain, but he also had a lot of dialogue and he had a lot of emotion and passion in a lot of these scenes to let you know he is a fucking psychopath. Like there ain't no ifs, ands, buts about it. Like he's insane. And so, but were you familiar with his character prior to this movie?
No, I wasn't at all.
So I was curious if he was a character that, because like the MCU has a lot of like known villains that are reoccurring, and then you have like the standoff villains. But I'm curious if he was like a standoff villain or not. Because if so, oh, he did great.
From how they say, I mean, from how they talk about him, yeah, he's a big part of the Guardians lore.
Really? Okay.
In that, so yeah, like this with going in that, it seemed like, but he had to be. I mean, it's a trilogy, so you have to go through the villains in trilogy and just think about all of them and how important they were. And yeah, I don't know, him and Hela, like as far as just like the type of people they were. And like I said, I'm not, and I don't want to, and let me not discredit Jonathan, because Jonathan still did an amazing job with the role. But the ending Jonathan is what I wanted the entire time. Like he was real calm, real patient the majority of it. Because he just wanted what he wanted.
Yeah.
In there, but High Evolutionary was controlling everything. So he was trying to control every situation from the beginning to the end. So it just felt a little bit differently. They felt. I mean, they're completely different characters. But then, shit, I don't know. Their suit looked like it looked like one of his suits, like Kang suits.
I think definitely like they probably gave us a lower level energy Kang because it was early.
Yeah. Nah, the one we looking for. When he come back, he gonna be man. Look,
we don't know what he gonna look like, but we'll see. Yeah, but so in this scene, when Rocket finds out they're not going to the New World, he's thrown back into his cage, aggressive as fuck. Like Rocket he didn't even look like no raggedy raccoon. He looked real sweet and stuff. He just had stitches and metal plates in his back. I'm like, why you throw him in a cage like that? And then Rocket told the squad, like, we're not going to the New World. Is that what they were calling it? The New World? I felt like
they were calling it the New World because they didn't know, but it's Counter Earth is what they that's what it was eventually made into.
Okay, I'll reference how they were referencing it. He told them like, we're not going to the New World. They're going to kill us in the morning. And Rocket picking up his pieces that he had been collecting over time to make that device to get out of that room, to get out of that cell. And the scary rabbit, I don't even know what she was saying during this time. And so it was Leia? No.
Lila.
Lila was just like in straight disbelief, and Rocket told him, he was like, look, we gonna get out of here. I can pilot one of those ships and we're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this scene, I was just like, oh hell, what's about to happen? Because I ain't seen none of them in no other movie and not even in this one. So something about to it's about to get wild. And so he opened up his cage, and then Lila's cage, and Lila got out. She was excited, and do you hear a blast?
He was careless here. Rocket was real careless because like just considering what he just told you, you should be moving with the utmost urgency in here. Like we need to be careful in how we move and we need to be watching out in there. But I guess he didn't expect it to become that dramatic in that dramatic fashion.
Do you think he should have like put his key card together? Do you think he should have waited like maybe an hour or two?
He should have done something. He should have come up with a plan to make sure they understood what was going on and what was going to happen. Because what transpired was a massacre.
Right. It was, because like during this scene, I was just like, shit.
They didn't even leave their cage. Some of them didn't even leave the cage. That's the messed up part.
Nah, Tooth, the walrus,
Teefs, and Flora never left.
No, Flora left the cage because Flora's making all that fucking noise.
Okay, right by that, man.
Yeah,
man.
It was definitely tough.
A hard watch.
Really? I mean, yeah.
I mean, emotional, not like.
Right. I was, because when I saw it, like honestly, Lila. Call her everything under the sun except her real name. Lila's death, I was just, that hurt a lot. But then we see the outcome when Rocket attacks high definition. Oh, evolutionary. I'm like, high definition, high evolutionary. Yo, Rocket fucked him up.
Yeah.
And so in this scene, that's when I was just like, okay, now I see how his face got like it was. And all of the guards came in shooting everybody but Rocket, which good. I'm glad you didn't. But then you shooting the creatures that's still in the cage. Well, Tease was still in the cage, and then the spider rabbit. I'm not gonna lie, I would have shot that one first. I would have. Sorry, you looking like a jigsaw device.
She said a spider rabbit. I would have shot it.
Yo,
I'm not mad at you, bro.
Flores would have been out of here first. I would have been like, oh, what the fuck is that? Yo, yeah. But like this scene, I was like, damn. I felt like so bad for Rocket because Rocket, of course, in this scene, probably blamed himself. And I'm like, Rocket, you got to get out of there. Like, you have to go. Like, I know you emotional right now. I know you screaming like you just lost your folks. You have to leave. And so, of course, we then see him make it to the area where the ships were, and he was able to get out. But we see the chemistry and how high definition face got like it was.
Yeah,
but I was hoping we would see the result like right then and there in that scene. Mm-hmm. But I appreciate how they gave us.
What they gave it to you. That last face off.
Literally.
Yeah, that's what I like. That play on words. How they did that. We catch back up with the team. They making it into Counter Earth at the same time. The Sovereign is making it to the Counter Earth at the same exact time. They pull up. They see all the townspeople over here. There are a whole bunch of animals that speak of whatever kind of language that they speaking. Little girl gives Drax a ball and he nails her right in the head.
They must have played dodgeball.
Look, but why did he throw it so hard? He ain't even like roll it back.
But Drax is very aggressive, so.
You think he did that with his own kids?
Yes, because they was probably as strong as him.
But that's a good thing. Like that's a good point. That's a very good point. And they find somebody that I don't know how they relate to this person, but they related to her because they didn't speak the same language, and they're over here having these language barriers. But how are you feeling about Drax just laid out on the couch like that? You allowing that in your house?
Jason, you've been in my house before. No, I'm not. The fuck? Yo, first off, I know they didn't take their shoes off at the door.
Nah, he had the boots on.
And you put your boots on my couch? I would have been cussing him out in that different language. But we come to find out Drax knows a few languages of his own. You just have to ask him, does he know it? But I thought this scene was funny because it's just like, you always got that person that try to come in somebody's house and lay on their couch. And it's just like, bro, don't do that. Like, everybody in the group know, like, yo, you don't be laid out on the couch. Like, yeah, you full body can be laid up on the couch. That's fine. But you are our guest. The couch is just for you, singular, in that one space. The couch is laid out is for the person who bought the couch. I was like, Drax, you wildin'. But Nebula's over here drinking the soda. She's like, oh, this is delicious. I'm sitting here like, bitch, ain't you a robot? How you over here drinking Coke? But hey, I'm not hating on Nebula. I like Nebula. Nebula is cool. But I think it's just like they found a family and it's a trustworthy species because Quill was like, oh, let me help you. You got some scratches on your knees. And so her husband was like, why is she bringing strays to the house again? Her husband just like, she just do this shit all the time. Like, you don't know these strangers? They could rob us. But none of that process is because you don't really know the behavior of the species. But then as we see they rolling around the city, I'm sitting here looking like Counter Earth or like regular Earth.
It is. Somebody he made it different. Like it's
you got somebody selling drugs to kids. You got people fighting in an alley.
It's just America.
Hello, counter America. But I guess nobody was being racist.
How do we know? That may have been what the beating was for. We'll never know. But then they in there, they have this. Well, when they were in the house, they had the little conversation about, she was like, oh, he's dead. Well, he's not dead. He's about to be dead. He's like, and she was like, yeah, nah, but he's a dumbass. He was like, yeah, like, he was like, wait, they can't both be the same. You made the same face twice. Like they're not gonna know. They're gonna think it's the same thing. You can't do it 2 times. She was like, why do you always call me out for different stuff?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm with Nebula on that because I'm just like, Mantis, you literally did the same gesture but changed the sound. You can see the confusion.
Yeah, nah, yeah, and they go ahead and make a plan. Drax and Mantis were going to stay and make sure Rocket was okay. Clearly, and then but Quill, so he took his opportunity to try to drive a car for the first time, which I appreciated this scene as well. Cause like James Gunn could get that F-bomb in there. You only get like 1 or 2 in the PG-13 movie, but he was gonna try to get it off.
Do you think it was in the right spot of this movie?
Yeah.
I feel like
you think it should have played somewhere else?
Yes, I feel like it was forced. I feel like in this scene it was forced. I feel like you probably had other scenes, and I'll probably have to rewatch it to try to find where it could have been dropped better. But I think in this scene, I was just like, okay, that seemed a little forced, a little bit.
I'm not okay. So you know what? I'm not mad at that because it would have because I laughed, but it was and it wasn't even like a fake laugh. I laughed, but it wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like it was an anticipated. It was just like, oh, okay. So I'm like, oh, that's what they doing in here.
Did you feel like it flowed?
I mean, that's why I said I can see why where you see it felt kind of forced in there.
Because I like I said, like I would definitely do my rewatch, and I'll just be like, this would have probably been a better spot for it.
If he had said it before, like in another movie, then I would be like, that's just what that's just what he does. He drops it. But that was the first one that I can recall.
Yeah, I think they did say this movie got the first F-bomb in it, which I'm just like, okay, if you got that signed off, you got to put it in a perfect spot. And I'm not gonna lie, I would have had Drax drop it, then Quill.
Yeah, that would have been. Yeah, that would have been.
Drax dropping it would have been fire.
Yeah, so, but I can agree. I can definitely agree there.
I wasn't mad with it though, but it felt a little forced to me. So,
and we got Gamora. While Quill is over, they go to meet with the High Evolutionary. She's on the ship going through Quill stuff. Like you don't even like this dude. What you doing? How you feeling about this thing?
If he had a cell phone, she'd probably go through it.
That you made my chick. What you doing?
You don't think You don't think chicks that's not your chick go through your cell phone?
Not that I'm not dealing with. No.
Wait. So Actually, I don't want to incriminate nobody. I don't want you like, well, Jazz, let me ask you this. Like, I don't know.
I'm just saying they weren't together, never been together. You a whole different person. She in this man backpack, pulling out pictures. It was closed.
But it was sitting there. And she was waiting on her ride to come because she just thought she talked to one of the scavengers, which she wasn't. She was talking to High Priestess Aisha, who's on her way with her bum ass son. And so she just walking around, drinking. She's like, oh, let me check out these pictures. Now, when she took the picture, that was kind of strange. Because we see when she brought it back up and asked Quill about it, I'm like, why is it not in your back pocket, sis? Why is it in your shirt? But to each his own. I guess some people hide pictures in their bosom, like the old lady say. Like the old lady say. But, and I'm not old, for just in case somebody try to pull some shit. But don't do that. So with this, and I was just I don't know, Gamora.
She was tripping. At this point, and Quill and them, they have pulled up to the High Evolutionary, and they have the War Pig at the front door.
This is one of the creatures that I said I would reference back to, because I'm like, so wait, this fucking pig looked like a creation of Sid from Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
Robotic everything. So you mean to tell me little baby Rocket and his squad wasn't able to make the new Counter Earth when you got this shit walking around?
So with Rocket, Rocket would have had to been like a security guard. War Pig was probably made to be security. Rocket was made.
You mean to tell me Wheels couldn't be security? Wheels as in teeth?
No,
that's a fucking walrus.
He got to be able to fight. He got to be able to do some other stuff. He barely can get around.
He can roll around if we teach him. What you mean? Now that Spider Rabbit? I mean, that Spider Rabbit can go on missions. I just feel like High Definition did not use those creatures to the best of his abilities. He was just like, let's just destroy them.
He didn't feel that was better used in a different way. But unfortunately, Nebula can't go inside. So Groot and Quill, they go in.
I was sitting here. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was just like, so wait, y'all search Quill. Y'all not gonna search Groot?
It was probably hard to scan through the wood.
When I saw that,
But you're right. You don't. But you don't see because they scan her. Well, right. Or they probably just look at her and just like, nah, you can't come in here.
Well, that bitch is a robot, so I definitely wouldn't have let her in. But like, they scan Quill.
They probably know what that tree do.
I would have scanned that damn tree. I would have scanned Groot. I'd have been like, look, if our machinery can't get through this thick ass wood, then fine. But I'm gonna try.
You gotta stay out here, brother.
We see why he should have got scanned. Yo, this motherfucker had a whole armory in his body. I'm sitting here like, see, if y'all would have had teeth and the Spider Rabbit on duty, you would have been fine. Oh shit, number 3. Bro, by the time we get to the end of this episode, we can learn our words.
Yeah, but
what movie we talking about?
Ant-Man 3. All right, go.
But nah. So we see Quill and Groot come in, and they see High Definition, and he got his hand up. He's like, I'm still working on something.
Dude, rude, bro. I would have started shooting in.
You didn't have no guns. Oh, well, Groot had guns, but you had to figure out what was going on before you just was like, open fire.
Rain, fire. That would have been my call. But they having this conversation, and he said, I went to your Earth one time, and I want to rebuild one better without the violence and bigotry. I'm not looking to conquer anything. I'm just looking to build a better place. He was like, how can you call this a better place? I just seen an octopus selling meth to roaches in the alley.
So I'm not gonna lie. I love this exchange only for the simple fact he said, "I am not a conqueror." Because if you think about the timeline of MCU films, the last movie we saw was
Was a
about a
conqueror.
conqueror.
Yeah.
So when you see this, he's just like, "No, I'm not doing all of that."
I'm telling you, James. I'm pretty sure they probably went over that to make sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But like that, just to put like those little bitty, it's just those little bitty lines. And another thing to mention, because you brought that up, Quill mentions whenever him and Nebula beefing, she calls him Star Lord. So if you pay attention to when they
I
not
did.
like when they she started calling him, she says Quill whenever they not into it. So yeah, it's just those little bitty things, just like, because because as you are the script police, like you the one that's for to pick it apart, and it could be a little bitty thing. So it's just little stuff like that. It's just like, dang, how do you even? And if you paying attention, like, dang, they really keeping up with these little moments. So it'd be you going through and catching something that wasn't supposed to be there. Like, kudos to you, but I was like just paying attention to that. And it was like, dang, they pay attention to everything.
It makes you appreciate the film on a totally different level. Or I will speak for me, it makes me appreciate it on a totally different level. Because I know
Nah.
some people just go to it like, oh, entertainment, it made me laugh, whatever, whatever. They don't really worry about anything else. But I'm just like, I like to dissect and look at the different areas. I want to see what the person who wrote what they were trying to bring to it. I want to the camera people, the different shots they were trying to bring to it. So I'm trying to look at the different elements. And like you were mentioning earlier, the music, like all of that stuff comes together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to appreciate it on all of those different levels. But yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yes. I was looking at I looked at a little part of it. I didn't finish it. And just mentioned the music piece. He was saying, well, they were saying, the actors were saying, in the script, the music is written into it. So like you will know exactly what's going on, the cues and stuff like this. So it's just that's just an amazing thing. Um as well. And he pretty much told them, after he mentioned, the world isn't as great as he thought it was. He was like, "You're right." And the music stopped. He was like, "I'm finna wipe it." He was like, "You said what?" Groot killed them all, and he shocks people. Not shocks him. He throws them down to the ground. He drops them down to the ground. On there. But of course, within that, they eventually get back up. He's like, "Okay, now let's kill them all." And then Groot throws a bomb, blows up one part of the place, and then they pull out all these guns, which was in an amazing. I love that, from Groot pulling out all the different guns, shooting in different places, to Groot being able to protect Quill as he's getting shot at. So it's this whole. So you can just see the camaraderie that has been built over the years, just how they, because the original group was kind of like, I ain't gonna say he was super defiant, but like he wasn't the most personable of that. So they James Gunn did say that he died whenever he did that sacrifice at the end of the first one. He does die. So the one that we're following is a kid, like it's the baby of that group. So he's grown up within this group, so he knows this group, and we see him, like I said, like in the Guardians 2. It's the first time we see Groot again. He can't fight or anything. He's just pretty much in like that little bitty little thing. It's just a little cute animal that they have following around. He was just a cute tree that the kids, I guess, could um fall in love with. But yeah, I enjoyed his development. I enjoyed Groot's development.
I definitely would say I still love Baby Groot. Like I love like all the different levels of Groot that we have seen, but Baby Groot just hit different. Like it's just adorable. And so I didn't know that though. So basically the Groot that we saw from the first one, like you say after the sacrifice and we see
Mhm.
like a new one, it's like a new resurrection, so different spirit type Groot.
No, it's a baby. It's his kid. Like
Well, I mean,
he.
like when I say spirit, I mean like different personality, different trait.
Oh yes, yes, yes. It's a completely
Okay.
different, because
Okay.
that one got to grow up within this Guardians family, so he learned them. He knows them,
Okay.
type thing. So you see when he was like a teenager, he just playing the game, going crazy. But we can see then he was gonna be a problem because he helped Thor with that axe. He gave him his limb to help create that. So you knew at some point it was gonna be a problem. And this movie was they actually showed Groot is a problem. in a good
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, he's a good problem. Good problem to
Yeah.
have, especially on your side.
Yeah, yeah, nah, that was a good problem. We got to catch up with Drax though. Drax, Jim and they got bored. They see a guy on a motorcycle. He clotheslines him and takes the motorcycle. He's like, yeah, "We just gonna go around the corner." He's like,
Why did
"Really?"
Mantis think? He's like, no, we're just gonna go to the ship. Oh, so over there? Yes. I'm sitting here like, Mantis, sis, what are you doing? Like, of course you're not jumping off the fucking motorcycle. And I'm sitting here like, I was just like, yeah, they about to head over there. And then here go Drax. Quill, no, I don't listen to anything he say. And I'm sitting here like, well, if you did, a lot of the ending of this movie could have panned out differently, but I'm glad that he did not, because a lot of lives and creatures were saved due to this decision that Drax decided to make.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. They pull up, not Gamora. Nebula is like, "Hey, pull the ship up." She was like, "I would, but I can't." And she was like, "Why can't?" And then she looked back. She was like, "These fools is right in front of me, like they, they right in front of me." But then like I said, the High Evolutionary, he decided to blow the world up. So then you just see all these different families, just like this felt like Thor 3 when well, you don't see the people blowing up, but like this is the first time you actually see the people getting killed in the massacre of what's going on. You're just like, dude, this dude has like lost his mind. And you kind of see like Nebula, she knows what's kind of going on because she didn't know because you see the War Pig take off. He's inside the ship. He's taking Rocket. Gamora and him are kind of fighting. He's getting the best of her, but then Warlock pulled up like, "Nah, I need the credit for this." He was like, "We're on the same team, bro." You're like, "Nah, not really." Take his head off his shoulders, and then what happened to him? Oh, he
So
gets that as the world begins to blow up. He tries to go back and save High Priestess Aisha, and then he blows up in the midst of that as
when
well.
that scene happened, I was like, okay, this is how Warlock is going to be on their side, because he was obviously doing all of this stuff just to save his civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Once he saw Aisha get up out of here, then I was like, okay, his alliance to High Definition is gone, because he didn't respect him at the beginning of this movie. And so with seeing his mom die, he's like, oh yeah, nah. But I was curious because he saw her blow up and he was able to make it back to the Guardian ship.
Mm-hmm.
Did Gamora like lock him up and confine him? I
She
would have let
had
his ass.
I was like, did she leave him or did she take him? Like, what happened to
I
him?
would have left him. I'm not bringing you on my ship. But I don't know if she knew how powerful he was, because when he attacked the Guardians the first time, she wasn't there.
Mm.
So that's why I'm like, maybe that's why you brought him on the ship. But realistically, if this motherfucker crashed through my ship with his cute little adorable pet, I'm leaving him. I'll keep the pet because that little critter was kind of cute. But I'm just like, nah, I'm not fake tying you up, because obviously he was able to get out of that quick once he was able to wake up. But when you see the fucking planet start blowing up, I was just sitting here like, bruh, like he literally, I'm not gonna say he had like Thanos body count, but
Did he
he's
not?
up there. Like,
Oh, well,
but
he wiped the universe. Never mind. You right.
right. So, but I think he's in the top 5 of villains that caught the most bodies. I mean, we could both agree on that,
Man,
because
he was wiping them. He didn't, if he didn't agree with it, out of here.
like, you created an entire species and then you just destroyed it because you just like, okay, now I got the creature that I need to make a better species, so let me just go ahead and destroy all of them. And I'm sitting here like, well, what type of event happened for you to be like, let me just blow this planet up? Because you could have literally just let them live, go to a new world, and let them do their own thing. But I will say in this scene, and I forgot to mention it earlier, once the Guardians got on this planet, do you remember seeing the kid that was in the parent was pushing the kid in a stroller, and so they had like a doll baby in the stroller with the kid, and I was just like, oh, it's a black baby doll. But it was him because he's black. But so they saw him as God. So I was just like, oh, look at that.
Man,
Maybe
that man, his dialogues was crazy in this film. Like just the bars he was dropping. You talk about bar, like he may be a Thanos. I don't think nobody dropped this many bars as Thanos, but he may be second. He may be second because he said something. Gator was like, you think you God? There is no God. That's why I'm here. I'm the one that it was like I was like, God, dog, hold up, like
you putting his bars over Kang's, and I mean Kang from Ant-Man and Loki. Look, Kang had a whole episode in Loki
it
where he was
just saying, hey, he up there. It's
and
because
Ultron too.
it was, man, he up there. It's a conversation to be had. It's a conversation because I felt every time I'm like, man, hold on, you gotta chill out, like, bro, what's up with you? Like, what's wrong with you, dude? But the guard, like the building is beginning to take off. Not Quill, but
Nebula.
Mantis,
Oh,
Nebula, and Drax have made it on the outside of. They're trying to get in to save Quill, but as you see this, you can, while this is happening, Quill is like just frustrated, upset because at this point he just want to save his friend. He grabs the guy that they need and he jumps out of the building. No thought, no process. I guess him and Groot figured out how they was gonna do this. So he just jumps out with the guy. He was like, "So you just gonna kill us both?" He was like, "Nah, I'm gonna kill you." And as this is happening, you hear the guy screaming, and then you see Nebula and them going up. You can hear the screaming as it happens. I was just like, I'm like, they didn't hear that.
yo, plot armor thick. Cause Jason, come on, man.
Groot, it's Groot. I mean, Groot was right there. I ain't
Jason.
know Groot can fly though. That was kind of. Oh, he glided, I guess.
I mean, yeah, he was glad, but Jason,
What?
you see how far the motherfuckers was up? Star-Lord, you ain't getting no sore arm, like sprain your ankle, like nothing from the impact on that ground, because I guess you were able to have a safer landing with the individual under you, which of course he died. Hell, he should have, because you hit the ground. But I'm like, all right,
He hit
plot
the
armor.
ground. He drowned this man. There was a whole bunch of.
I think he was dead before he got to the water. He was definitely dead. There's no way he survived that landing.
Nah, that was falling weird wild in this movie. Like even when Mantis them got caught and they got dropped, she landed right on her neck. Like
I'm sitting here like, so y'all trying to kill Mantis for real? Because she broke her neck when she got into that dungeon. What is happening? Why are y'all doing good sis like that? It's like they made you think it was always somebody's about to die in the scene, and obviously they don't. But of course, the trailer had you thinking that.
yeah.
And I appreciate the writing in this, because if I'm thinking the entire movie somebody is going to die, the story is developing great, and of course I don't get what I think, but I'm still enjoying it. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, nah, this was a nice writing. I mean, nicely written.
Right.
They make it on the ship. They trying to get Quill. Drax busts down the door, but as this is happening, they have a Yondu moment. I'm like, oh man, they could have freeze them to death like right here, like that. That would have been a crazy moment as well. And he busts into the door, and they see the kids, and they're just like, yeah. What's in the Nebula? Just like, man, what the hell? This is not what I signed up for. And this not what I'm doing. And they have this big blow up between Nebula and Mantis, which it was emotional too, just listening to. How did you feel about this scene between them when they have their final standoff, I guess?
I think it was needed, because when's the last time we actually saw Mantis stand up to anybody or stand up to Nebula? You didn't see it. And so in this scene, you see her standing up for Drax, somebody who's been dogging her ever since they got together, but they're always paired together. And so it makes you appreciate Mantis a lot more, because Mantis is able to see, even though Drax is as foolish and as goofy as he is, she sees what he brings to the team. And so she just read Nebula what she needed to read her. She's just like, all of this stuff, and Nebula's just like, bro, like Drax is just on some fuck shit. And then
she got him a liability.
I mean, I can see that though in certain situations.
Too.
Like I wasn't upset with what Nebula was saying, but I appreciated Mantis standing up for her friend. And so it was a conversation that needed to be had, especially when you look at the different areas in the movie. Because Mantis always gets shitted on. Even when they got to that organism planet, they shit on her in that scene. And she just, even in the scene after that, she was telling Drax, like, how am I supposed to know something if nobody tells me? And I'm sitting here like, sis, you're right. People want you to know shit, but if you don't know it, then how are you supposed to react to it?
I'm supposed to learn it if you ain't, if it's not being explained. So yeah, no, that was I love that. Like that I don't know, like the stuff, like I said, it was just a little small nuances that they were going into. And then she kind of tells him that, he's stupid, but he knows who he is, and he doesn't hate himself, which Nebula did. But it was, but given her situation, I understood why she would, like just how her dad treated her. So like they touched on everything. Like I know I keep going back into it. But they touched on everything. Like they went back through it within this script, and then she although she did say it's not right to manipulate friends for different things, she went ahead and did it because she did say, Drax is stupid, and that's fine because he at least makes them laugh. Like that's who he is. I feel like that was also to us because people, like I hear people, like a lot of people really like Drax. I had never heard of Drax before this, but like a lot of people really like Drax, and they were like, they just made him stupid. Like he like just a comic relief character. That's not who he is inside the Guardian. So it was like that. I feel like that was a meta conversation with the fans.
So I guess, what is his character in the comic books? Is he supposed to be serious? Because I know it's Drax the Destroyer. So I would say if somebody has that Destroyer in their name, they're serious. They're like,
I'm assuming so that he's a more serious character in the comic book as opposed to how he is here. Which, like I said, you need the comic relief in there, and I don't know. It worked a lot with Drax. It worked with Quill too. I think he had a better balance between, because he had his serious moments, he had his goofy moments as well. Which in here he had a lot of both of them. Inside here, which we go into Quill actually. So Quill is back on the ship with Gamora and with Groot, and they got the information they need from the guy's head. They're trying to save Rocket, but unfortunately Rocket he flatlines. Which we go back into the friend scene. I'm already like, oh man, we on the Puffy, I'll be missing you.
Wait, what, did you cry?
Did I caught him. I caught him.
You was catching tears.
I caught him like before they actually came out. I'm like, oh no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that today. Not today.
Is this a safe space?
Are we safe? Space. We safe.
All right, I ain't even gonna hold you, man. Look, yo, this shit had me. I'm sitting here like, why is this water coming down my eyes? Like, what is this? So, and I'm going to explain why. Like, anybody, I'm a thug. I don't be crying about none of that. Fuck all that. But
she a thug, y'all.
Yo. And just to see Rocket see her.
Lila. Look at you. You done gave her 100 different names.
I did. Hey, just to see Rocket talk to Lila. And he just looked so relieved. Mm-hmm. And so she was just like, we're all flying. Just like we talked about. I'm sitting here like, bitch. Where y'all going? Where y'all going with this? Like, y'all need to go ahead and bring Rocket back. And then when Rocket said, can I come? And she said, yes. I said, I know the fuck y'all not. I know you not. You better not. You better tell him not today. And then you see Wheels, and then you see Spider Rabbit come through. And I'm just sitting here like, Rocket, my nigga. And then we switch back to Quill, Gamora, and Groot over his body, and Gamora's like, he's gone. and everything's flatlining, and she's like, and then I will give Chris Pratt his fucking flowers. This scene when he was like, I'm not giving up. I lost too much. He was like, I'm not giving up. I was just like, bro, you spitting on Rocket Body. I'm seeing all of this. And I'm just like, don't you fight for your friend. You do that.
Yeah, nah, you felt that. You felt
this
that.
Shit, anybody who's looking at this scene, like dead ass, and if they just sitting here still eating their popcorn, look, I put the popcorn to the side. I ain't had no fucking popcorn. I'm just sitting here, and then when Rocket was about to go, and then what's her name?
Lila.
Let me update her name in my notes. When Lila was like, but not yet.
And that's I love that. I love that when she, you know, she said the story has been about you the entire time. You just didn't know it.
Okay, so when she dropped that line, it had me thinking, because I'm like, so wait, was the whole entire thing really about Rocket? Because at first it made me think it was about Quill.
It did. It does. It makes it'll make it appear that way because that's who we're introduced to first.
In the
but
beginning.
but then you just look at, like I said, that's why you see the entire time Rocket is hardened. Like in the beginning, Rocket is real hard. But then as Rocket begins to open up, you see the dynamic between everybody change over time. So then you just see Rocket. So like these things are happening, but then you see Rocket, like a lot of times his emotions are the ones that you really got to pay attention to. Like even from Infinity War and stuff like that, because he's one of the ones that stayed, like he didn't get snapped. So like he was one of the ones you see, like it's like he's always been a pivotal person in the crew.
Man, that was when she dropped that bar. I was over here like, all right, it's really about Rocket. I'm over like, woo, somebody cutting onions in this motherfucking movie theater right now.
And she was like, you know, like, and that's where that little line comes. She was like, you know, there's the hands that made us, when she was talking about the high evolutionary, but then there's the hand that guide us, which is, you know, I guess whatever your belief or whatever that may be. And she said, you haven't got to your purpose just yet. Which I don't know if that's how we end the movie or we haven't gotten to that. Like at some point we're gonna get to, because if Rocket died at some point, I'm gonna be through, like just based on everything that he had to go through within this. Like, you know, we already got the first, like he kind of remind like a animal version of Tony Stark, but that's what it kind of remind me of to a certain extent. But he actually that guy though. Like Tony was the builder and whatnot, but like, you know, Rocket, he's an actual fighter. Like you know, Tony had to put the stuff on and do all his fight, not to take nothing away from him.
Yeah.
In there, but
I also want to add to Lila's quote of saying, we're not the creatures, like the hands that made us, but the ones that guide us. And I think that also comes down to the point of, just because someone creates you to be a certain thing does not mean you have to be that. Because as we see through this entire movie, how High Definition was trying to create the perfect society, the perfect creature, the perfect world.
Ooh, that goes into to Adam Warlock as well.
Right. So it was just like, I was just like, shit.
Ooh, that touches on Nebula as well.
Drop those bars. Look, drop them. Go ahead.
I mean, shit. I mean, everything. Like, I mean, a lot of these things, they were touching on so many different things, and again, we just keep going back to just congratulating James Gunn. So to be able to give us 6 people we've never heard of, to make us care about these people we like, because it was just like, man, when the Guardian, I'm like, I'm not fit to go watch that. Like, who, like, at some point they'll come back and then that'll be that. Then it's like, let me go back and watch this movie. Like, this actually was a dope ass movie. So when 2 come out, I'm at the movies watching it. I'm like, okay, another dope movie. Like, how y'all Kurt Russell in here and everything? Like, man, hold on. Like, they messing with the Yondu, make you care about Yondu, the guy from Walking Dead you didn't care about.
Because he was racist. Exactly. You shouldn't have cared about him over there.
They made you. Eventually they made you. But
But eat that motherfucker up. But like, nah, even in Guardians 2 though, like when you found out Quill, and if you haven't seen Guardians 2, you shouldn't be listening to a Guardians 3 volume review. But we find out Quill's father, Ego, killed his mom. He's the one who gave her the cancer. And when that realization came through, I was like, everybody had to be like, oh shit. To where it's like the storytelling and everything tying in together was like, it was perfect. And it was done so well. And I appreciated the script in this movie and also from the prior
She
movies
liked the script,
because
y'all. She liked the
yeah,
script,
yeah,
y'all.
I
She liked
definitely
the
did.
script, y'all.
Because like how these characters are, they have arguments on things that are very relatable.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they are in it, traveling around different galaxies and universes and dealing with different creatures, but Quill keep mentioning, well, we used to have a good time. We was in love. We was this, and this. Because I'm just like, Jason, if you was involved with somebody and she got up out of here, and then you see her from another universe come into yours, somebody that she was in love with, are you gonna try to be like, hey, I mean, we had a thing before with another version of you. Would you try to remind him of that? Like, would you do what Quill was doing with this Gamora, or would you just be like, nah,
I
that's not
would,
gonna work?
so in actuality, what I would do is I would just try to come to them just as a person. Now, where he benefited from the previous Gamora is she was around him, like she was just around him the entire time. So it was a lot that can happen within that. It was not really giving up left up the chance. But like if you just see this person one time, you have to try to impress them enough or try to get their contact information to then try to build that. But I wouldn't have been talking about, well, I would have probably may have brought that up at some point, like within it, like, man, there was another version of you and this is how we were in that situation. I don't want to force that or make a situation, but I want to get to know you. You know what I'm saying? Like Chris Brown, yo video. I would have been, trying to, what I'm saying? He followed the girl, like, excuse me,
I
miss.
ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna do the same shit Quill was doing, especially if I know like this is the love of my life and he got that potential. I'm be like, look, we had well, actually, I'm not gonna be as aggressive and crazy as Quill was, but I'm like, I
Exactly.
gotta make sure I gotta have him fall in love with me again. I'm like, let me go ahead and be a full on Ravager again. Where where he at? Let me go over there. Like Guardians, I'm gonna holler at y'all in a year. Let me go see if I can get that light to come
Figure
back
this
up.
out.
Hey,
You
look,
wow. You
I'm sure the
wow.
dating pool trash is fucking the galaxy.
Well, you got a whole. It's a galaxy, so it's a little wider a little bit.
Find somebody and they speaking a totally different language, and you just like, nah, I ain't got time to be learning nothing new. No.
Exactly. And Rocket, he comes back to life. He pops up. Everybody relieved. Gamora, even Gamora was like, yes, like, because she kept saying like, you must be a very important rodent or squirrel for them to, go to these links. So they, hug up on Rocket. And she was like, well, where is Nebula at? He was like, he was gonna tell her that she died because he thought she was still on
Yeah.
that planet. And he was like, but because I see her stuff, her vitals are on the screen. He was like, wait, Nebula, you good? He was like, yeah. He was like, we just got, then Rocket started speaking. And then she was just like overwhelmed, just like she couldn't even say nothing.
She broke down, man. I'm not gonna lie. I got a little teary eyed on that too
I did
because
too. I'm getting it now, but I'm not gonna let it fall.
no, we recorded. Better be a thug. Better be a thug. But now, like just seeing her because, of course, like you mentioned, first time we saw Nebula was in the first Guardians, and Nebula was over here trying to kill her sister, and like she just doesn't show that affection towards any of the members. And so hearing Rocket's voice, she was just like, oh shit. And I even had that in my notes. I'm just like, Nebula's reaction of hearing Rocket's voice over the comms. Like, I was like, whoo. But also at this moment, I didn't think anybody was dying. I didn't think anybody was gonna die. Because I'm just like, okay. Because I remember we spoke about this earlier, and I was like, I don't think Rocket gonna die, even though the trailers had you thinking that. But I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
they brought Rocket back to life, and Rocket was damn sure a character y'all could have wrote off because he was in every situation to be like, okay, we can go ahead and kill him. But at this point, I was just like, nah, they probably good. Mantis, I had some suspicions, but I was just like, probably not. But
Yeah. While they're talking on the comms, of course, High Evolutionary, he pops up. on the comms at the same exact time. Which then this was, come on now, you know, if this was if Quill was black, he would have been dropping some niggas when he was saying some stuff back. And this was and that felt like something I would say the way he was talking about him.
What?
He said
the shit Quill was saying was trash.
No, oh man, that's how we talk. That's how we talk in Memphis. Like that's how we talk from. He said you stretch face. He said you stretch face, RoboCop, purple nurple looking ass.
Like what?
That's how. Hey, look, the first person to keep getting it. You gotta be the loudest. You gotta be the quickest. You gotta say it with some style. It's gonna flow. And I was like, bro, it said if he was black, he would have been saying nigga. Every other word he would have been saying nigga.
Nah, for me, it would have been bitch. I'd have been like, you ashy lip ass motherfucking bitch. That's what I would have said.
You sound like Kevin Hart when he was talking to his teacher.
Hey, look.
Shit on the balls. Hopefully it caught me when I said that. No.
I heard all of it. Yes, audio, yes.
But then at this, during this exact time, we catch back up to Cosmo and Cracklin. They've been kind of chilling, back on nowhere, hanging out, playing cards. And then Cosmo was talking about, this one time I was a dog. I got sent to on the spaceship, and I've never been called a bad dog. That was like the last time it happened. He called me a bad dog. He needed to tell me I'm not a bad dog. He was like, I'm not. He would not move off of this
the whole time. I'm like, you gotta get over it. It's gonna be okay. But
yeah, and they go ahead.
But I was gonna say that was when Quill pretty much called him, was like, we need your help.
Yeah, reached out to him. That's what I was trying to get to.
He reached out to him.
Right. Now you fine. You probably fine. You can pick up on that if you want it.
You got it.
You got it. But he reached out to him because they're gonna try to ambush the high. We know they're trying to ambush the High Evolutionary at this point. We finished the movie, but they're trying to do an ambush, but he wants him to pull up in a different space. So he's like, all right, I got you. Like I just love the teamwork that they have. It's just not a thing of, and I don't feel like it's a thing of anybody really plays like that a leader of the crew. It's just like, hey, this is what we need to do, and whatever that person say at that moment, this will be doing. They just ride with it, right, wrong, and different. They just ride. And we catch back up with the other crew. Nebula, Mantis, neither one of them can get the kids. Where they are, they find there's kids in this space. And they trying to make sure the kids stay out the way because Quill is on the way to protect them, to save them. And they like, hey, we need to get them out the way, but they trying to, she's doing ASL. Mantis is doing ASL as best she can.
I don't know what the fuck Mantis was doing. Mantis was like, moving her arms, and I'm like, what the hell?
Then you see Drax. Drax picks up, I guess he knew the language. I don't know if he came from where they came from or how he figured it out. But then Drax started doing it, and it was like, why didn't you tell me? Like you said that you speak this. He was like, you didn't ask. It was just like, bro, like read the room. Like,
why do I have to ask you anything when you know the language? You like, oh, this could be helpful to us because we could die. I'm like, come on, Drax, come on. But
then let me see. So then they get this the ambush. They get this ambush going. Which the Quill Rocket group, they have their own spaceships which are facing right in front of where the High Evolutionary was. So this is what they're paying attention to. But out of nowhere pops up on the other side, and they're just like, wait. And then High Evolutionary, this first time you kind of see him sweat. He's like, you need to turn it around. Just turn it around. Go the other way. They're like, it won't be fast enough. And then, he kind of tells them to do, send all these different troops to go ahead and start fighting. And that's when his team turns on him. They just like, nah, bruh. We not doing this because you are becoming irrational to gather. He was like, your desire for this animal must stop. For God's sake. He was like, there is no God. That's why I stepped in. And then he blew their asses up.
I mean, I feel like they should have known his powers I wouldn't have given him no opportunity. At the moment I pull my gun on him and he start turning around, I'm shooting him.
And I
I ain't
feel
even
like
making eye contact.
there shouldn't have been like a conversation, but I feel like because they pulled the gun, they knew he was defeatable to a sense.
Right.
So at that point, it was like, okay, so if the crew actually got to him, the Guardians, they actually get to him, it's not gonna be what we think it's gonna be. But it was like,
Right.
but if he get the upper hand, which shit, he wiped them out. Then that's what that was. And while this ambush that they had is happening, he sends his goons into nowhere, which they in there just messing them up. They going crazy.
So if you lived in nowhere, like if you had a family and these motherfuckers just moving y'all planet around and they move it to a battle to where all these creatures come out. And I also want to say this was a solid reference to a DC movie, and I'm not exactly sure if it was meant to reference one or not, but I definitely want to say I would be pissed if I'm just like, all right, just made dinner for my mans. We living in nowhere. And I'm like, what the fuck is all that ruckus outside? And these creatures are just coming around in town. I'm like, why y'all got us in some more shit? I just fixed my roof last week after Ada Warlock destroyed everything. I'm just like, why don't y'all have ships to where y'all can go do these different things and leave us here? Because you obviously don't have like an army or much of a defense to be moving our planet around or whatever the fuck there nowhere is to be going to these different battles. It just seems dangerous and probably not a very good decision making.
I'm pretty sure I'm sure they probably don't do it often, but I guess it was just a thing of, hey, we here, we can stop this or whatever it is, so let's do it this way. Let's go ahead and just we need to call an audible, and this is a good one. This would throw them off because on their ship they really didn't have no offensive. They didn't really have any offense on their ship. So they put out that little 3 cannon. They started shooting at the High Evolutionary, which was blowing it up, but yeah, it wasn't too much. But we do have the payoff from the beginning of the movie when Cosmo and Kraglin were the reason it actually started was them playing this game. He's still trying to figure out how to use Yondu's spear. And then we have a Yondu callback. Yondu pops up. He was like, it's in your heart. Just you can do it. You can go ahead and do it. And he learns how to use the spear. He takes out a lot of different people. He got one left. And then this one, Cosmo pulls up and she hits him with 2 big ass boulders, stones, or whatever that was, and then he finally calls her a good dog. He was like, "I knew you didn't mean that. I knew it."
But I'll say like the creatures that were attacking the ships, like Rocket Ship and then also Quill Ship. Did you ever see the anime? And I think you did the animated the Justice League Apocalypse War.
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember how that movie was? And for anybody who hasn't seen it, like spoiler alert, but it dropped like 3 years ago. So when they were trying to go to Darkseid's planet,
mm-hmm.
Darkseid knew what they were gonna do, so he had his creatures ready for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like when Justice League, all of them were going to his planet, all of those creatures just came, like it was thousands of them, and they attacked the ships. And then that's when the shot just went to something else. So I immediately thought of that scene from the animated movie when I saw this.
I didn't even think about that.
Like, because like if you go back and look at it, I was just like, yo, this looked like the shit from that damn animated movie. And I was just like, it's probably not no type of connection to it, but I'm like, okay, James Gunn is going to DC now. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, oh, that's fire. And plus, also, if I was in one of those ships, I'd be like, bro, we about to die. Y'all see all these little creatures? It's thousands of them. How
yeah. But well, like you said, we have the crew inside the other ship, inside of the High Evolutionary ship. Everybody is finally coming together. Quill and them like, we gotta go get Nebula, and we gotta go get Nebula Mantis and Drax, and then boom, she got her fire introduction where she comes in riding the big monster thingy, whatever they were called, into
faculty creatures.
the faculty creatures into the room, and they like, Rocket was like, we got to go save the other people. We got to go save the animals, because he's seen there was some animals as he was sending people over. He was like, well, we got to go save the animal. Well, they didn't say anything. Actually, that's why I went to. It didn't matter whenever somebody said something. They just rolled with it. It was just ride or die with him. So Rocket he took off first, and everybody else was just like, I bet that's what we doing. And Gamora was just like, bro, we gotta leave. Like, they were like, nah, we gonna finish here. And this is, that song that you were mentioning from Super Mario Brothers. No sleep in Brooklyn. It plays, which I know they got some money off their placement on both of the movies.
Look,
one of them already at a Billy. Like,
yeah, we're gonna discuss that next week.
I'm hoping, I'm hoping this movie gets there, because but it's Marvel, hopefully. But how was your theater? Was it some people? Was it?
So my theater wasn't packed at all, but I also went at 1:00 on a Friday.
True.
So I think, and normally how my theater goes, like as I'm leaving, I see people coming in. So like I think that Marvel, this movie definitely gonna get to where like a solid solid amount. I don't see, and anytime like I tweeted about it, everybody was like the movie was fire.
Yeah.
I haven't seen no hate yet.
I seen the one guy, he was like, I thought this was the best movie since Endgame.
So I guess
since Endgame, it's been several movies since then, so I can see why.
I don't think this movie. I think it's unfair for anybody to put Endgame or Infinity War up against anybody else. Take those out of it. Those movies took years to get to that point. So if everybody is using them as a scale of like, look, is it close to Endgame? I'm like, bruh, come on. Like, this is a standalone. Like, come on, don't do that. Look at the movies from Phase 4 and look at the movies that we have for Phase 5 compared to those. But if you just go to Endgame or Infinity War, I feel like personally that's not a fair comparison, because this movie was like, it's the end of a trilogy and it didn't take 10 years to get to where they are right now. You don't have 10 years of pieces coming into this one film like you did with Infinity War and Endgame. So like when they were trying to push the whole, this is the best movie since Endgame, I'm like, you putting it to a very high standard. I didn't see it.
It's been it's 9 years.
Jason.
I'm just saying. I get you. I get you though.
I just feel like that's doing a disservice to this film.
I agree. It should be compared to it should be compared to the trilogies that have come before.
Exactly.
And kind of like you said, the movies that have happened since the new phases have began. Yeah. Like it shouldn't go beyond it. So I'm definitely I'm with you.
Once you wait till Kang Dynasty drop. Till Secret Wars drop. That's the movies I feel like you should compare Endgame, Infinity War to. Not these movies. Like I'm like, y'all, come on. Like I'm not doing that. I'm not. That's just me though. I can't speak for anybody else, but I just feel like if you think, and we've had these conversations so many times, if you think you about to get in-game product, like, come on. Would you like? I'm like, y'all.
I would. No. I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't.
Because you've had really good movies that came after Endgame. Were they as good as Endgame? No, but they weren't supposed to be. Their story didn't need to expand over 2 fucking movies.
It didn't. It didn't.
So
I think Spider-Man probably the quickest trilogy that we have, though. Maybe either that or Iron Man. Iron Man and Spider-Man, they did them movies pretty quick. Like they pushed them, gave us them, and pushed them out pretty fast. But like I said, we get this crazy montage of the Guardians fighting together for the first time in the movie. They were all in this little room, and like I feel like this was a seed to show that Rocket was eventually going to become the leader, because they let him. He walked in first. I was like, okay, I see what they're doing. Rocket fit to be the new leader, regardless of whatever happens to the rest of the crew. It's going to be Rocket leading them moving forward. And Drax, he steps up to open the door, to get them into it, and then you just see all their people like, man, I thought Drax gonna get his head blown off. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That would have been a trash death.
It would have. It would definitely would have been. But then they, they go into the room and they just have this crazy montage. It felt like Guardians 2, the intro to Guardians 2 with the music playing, the big fight. You see, they had the upper hand. I felt like the entire time and that within their fight. I was gonna say you don't really see them because like in the Guardians 2, they was getting beat up by that little monster. But then
that
you
was
see
no little monster, Jason. That motherfucker was big.
I'm thinking about Groot when he was a baby just running around trying to play. And that's what that little bitty thing was, that little cute thing. It was just running on top of people's heads and stuff after they got shot or got taken out. And then you just see everybody going into the room. Like they had some fun doing this thing though.
So let me ask you this, because when I was looking at this scene, I wanted to ask, I was like, let me make sure I ask this during our review. Post Endgame, can you name a better, like the top 3 fight scenes in a movie?
Since
And when
Endgame?
post Endgame. And so we've gotten a few. I think this one is definitely top, because I think like the final battle or the end in Ant-Man, it didn't hit like this. And I'll say the same thing for Black Panther as well. And Doctor Strange, that motherfucker was running the whole time. Granted, we did see dead Doctor Strange come through, but I feel like Guardians, only other one, Shang-Chi.
When he was fighting his dad, now that was hard when he learned how to use the rings, and then he fought that thing.
Yeah, but then also, would you put in, even though a lot of people hated this movie, would you put in the final battle of Eternals?
I was thinking that too. I actually was thinking that. I liked it. I enjoy. A lot of people hate that movie. It was an interest in that, and that's where the contrast would actually come from. You think about Eternals, then you look at Guardians, and just seeing how you can have this ensemble cast, and a lot of people may think it like it's easy. You got this, but it's not. You can see it, and it's just. I feel like with that, I don't know. I don't know the Eternals. I did know the Guardians. I love the Guardians. I'm still impartial to who the Eternals was. Like I don't even have a favorite Eternal. Like my favorite was probably Icarus, and he did. Like he he got burnt up.
So the villain.
Yeah, the villain. Yeah, that was my favorite of the people.
I think Eternals, their script and their story is how they fell short. I don't even think it was the fact that they had so many characters, but I also think Eternals should have been a Disney series and not a blockbuster movie.
I agree. It should have been expanded. It's too much.
Yeah,
it was too much.
Way too much. And I understand that you have major actors. You got Salma Hayek and you got Angelina Jolie. Completely understand. You don't want to just put them in a series. But you are able to flesh out your characters more in a 6 to 9 episode series. And the thing is, they don't even have to be in every episode. You probably could have had them in maybe 3 or 4. And so that's why I feel like Eternals probably fell short, especially for the simple fact nobody knew who they was. So this is new. And everybody's still on the high of Endgame. And we just like, who these new niggas?
Man. And the movie the only person that really got like, because it's been a disservice for every movie show that in Marvel that's come after an Avengers movie. The only person that did right or got the right treatment was Spider-Man. Everybody else has been treated poorly after that, and it's not a slight to them. It's just like, why would you put them there?
It's yeah. I hate when people just automatically go back to Endgame and Infinity War to compare all the movies, because it's one of those things to where it's just like, if you give somebody steak and lobster as their first meal, and then you be like, let me go ahead and give you some grilled chicken. The grilled chicken is good, but they're so used to that steak and lobster. They're like, this shit ain't like that steak and lobster. It's just like, bruh, that does not mean it's not good. So it's one of the things, so it's building blocks. And so that's why I just feel like I agree with you. It's definitely a disservice. And it also puts a lot of pressure on Kang Dynasty, on Secret Wars. And you see all these other characters being introduced. I think half these motherfuckers are dying. in either one or both, like in those films that we're gonna get. But I feel like it's unfortunate that when we get their standalone projects, they're not going to be appreciated as much because
Mm-hmm.
everybody is always going to go back and compare it to a movie that had all of these stars, all of these characters. And I'm like, y'all, we got to rebuild it again because half of them are either gone or they did or they just retired.
They're doing other stuff.
Right. So it's just, yeah, it, because I feel like, and I've said this to y'all, and I don't know if I said on the pod before, Black Widow should have dropped after Civil War.
Yeah, it should have. It should have been. There was no way she should have come after
No, absolutely
Endgame.
not.
Like that wouldn't. Like that was. Yeah, nah. And I
Like,
mean, it's just that's like after Infinity War, nothing should have dropped in between that time. We got Ant-Man and we got
and
Captain
Captain
Marvel.
Marvel. Yeah. And I'm
Like
just
they
sitting here
just kid like
like,
just and like just like and
it's
I'm
unfortunate.
and Captain Marvel isn't a horrible movie, but just based on what we when we got it, it was just like, bro, I just seen everybody I've been in love with for 10 years die. I don't want to see her. Where my people at? I want to see them go fight against him again. Now we back to the beginning. They brought us back to the 90s.
But
And
then
now
like
we gotta
that end,
follow it.
right. But then that end credit gave you hope
It
because you
did.
see Fury calling her, excuse me, and you just like, okay, we see what she's capable of.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like, and we know during the entire time their Marvel Studios was going through different complications of people behind the scenes. They didn't want Black Panther or Captain Marvel or Black Widow because you got folks racist and sexist. So they was like, no, we're not signing off on that. So, which unfortunately affected the storyline of when things dropped. But I think Black Widow could have been a lot more successful after Civil War. And Captain Marvel, I'm not exactly sure where a good spot for her would have been. And I feel like I feel like we talked about it. I feel like maybe her post-credit scene should have been somewhere else.
I that it should have just been in a different place because like
Or
introduce her. She could. You know what? I'm
if
gonna be
she
real. I'm gonna be real with you. She could have been introduced. See, that's
before
the
Infinity War or
she could
before
have been introduced.
Ragnarok. She
She could
could
have
have
been
been introduced before
right. But
Ragnarok.
whenever the Black Panther, Spider Man, Doctor Strange, when those movies were coming out, she should have
Yeah.
been introduced within there. Now the end credit, I don't know when that would have come out, but there should have been an end credit to Infinity War. I don't think they had an end credit in there, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember there being a end credit in Infinity War. Wait, when was the Ant-Man end credit? The Ant-Man where Scott, his end credit was in his own movie, right? When
It was
he
in his
went,
movie when he got sucked into the thing and everybody disappeared because that was at the
okay,
end of Infinity War. I mean, that was after Infinity War, but that explained why he wasn't
in
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 Infinity War.
Infinity War because he got sucked away.
So, I mean, I don't remember if Infinity War had an end credit. Now, that could have definitely been putting that in there, Infinity, because it was the same time. You got the snap and then just seeing all of that happen. But I think it might have been tough because you see Thanos talking to baby Gamora and he asked her, well, she asked him, she was like, was it all worth it? And he was like, yes. So hell, that could have been an end credit to this own movie. It could have been two end credits. But I mean, I don't know. But yeah. Nothing we can do about that now. So, but
Oh, okay. So the end credit in Infinity War was the pager, I think, and that introduced us coming to her to Captain Marvel. Introduced the pager. They didn't know what it was, and then her movie was her
they
coming.
found it.
Yeah, they in her movie was her actually making it.
Okay. Where'd they find it at?
Remember, well, it ended with Fury hitting the button. That's how it
Right.
ended. With Fury hitting. That's how her movie. That's how Infinity War ended. You know, they were like, man, what's going on? Why people disappearing? And then in her movie, it was her like pulling up, like, what's up? Like, what y'all? Where's
Oh.
Fury?
So Infinity War kind of, okay, it referenced Captain Marvel and we didn't know
Yeah,
who she
you didn't
was.
know who that. You didn't know what that was.
Then yeah, her movie definitely should have dropped before Infinity War. Yeah. So well,
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I get it, but hey, who are we? You know, they'll figure it out. They make a lot more money than either one of us.
well, that's because they ain't got the right people in there. Because I would have told the motherfuckers, y'all need to go ahead and do Captain Marvel before all of this shit. But it is what it is. But back to Guardians. So we see Rocket is pretty much helping like get the kids to the ship to where they're going on nowhere. And the hallway that he's in, he sees where he was. And so he's seeing these different cages of animals. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, in this scene, I was like, so you just gonna leave these animals in here?
Like,
Nah.
the other ones?
Like, I'm like, nah, we don't leave all of them. So then he realizes his species. He realizes he is a raccoon. And he had all those little baby raccoons on him. And I was just like, oh my God, this scene is so fucking adorable. And I'm just like, so what about the kangaroo? Like, what about everybody else? And then that's when he comes across High Definition. And High Definition is beating his ass. But luckily he was able to get all the little baby raccoons off of him.
He ain't really get him like that, but he started. He started.
Jason, look, before everybody came through,
no, remember, no. So look, so he pulled up, he grabbed him, and he was talking cash, like cash to him when he finally pulled up on Groove. Not Groove, but he pulled up on Rocket. And then he tried to throw him. He throws him up into the room, and I wonder if Rocket knew this was going to happen, because in the beginning they said, "What are you doing? Why are you walking across the room? I'm working on these gravity shoes."
That's
and then that's when at the end he turned him on. He was like, "Yeah, nobody worried about you," and he shoots him. And then that's when the crew pull up at the same exact time after he shot him, and they went crazy on him. In the room, and Gamora, she stabbed him. Man, they not even that violent, but she is.
Gamora is the one that's going to pull the trigger, and I appreciate that. I appreciate this Gamora pulling the trigger, and I wanted Rocket to shoot him in the head, but I was just like, that's not gonna happen, and then Gamora started taking a piece of his face off, and I was just like, oh, we're gonna see what Rocket did to him, and that shit looked gross.
Yeah, he it looked like Red Skull almost, but I mean,
that's what I was thinking too. I'm not gonna lie. That's what I was just like, whoa, he looked like Red Skull a little bit, except Red Skull didn't. He had some High Definition had some of his lips still there.
Yeah, just regular. That he Rocket messed him up. On
a whole lot of levels.
Here it is. He told Rocket, "You are nothing but an abomination, something from my palm." And I was like, bro, this man, the stuff he was saying, I was just like, bro, nah, you gotta. I probably would have killed him. Oh, you think he dead?
No.
Ooh,
I don't think
back.
so.
If he come back, he gonna come back with vengeance. Like, imagine him linking up with Kane.
Or what's dude from Fantastic Four?
Dr. Doom.
Doom, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you got all these heroes out here, so you got to have multiple villains. Yeah, and I don't mean like different variants. So that's why I was just like, y'all definitely should have killed him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Y'all leaving people alive.
But after they got out the room, so after they got out of there, they start. Cosmo is holding the two ships together best she can. They got the kids off. Now they're getting the animals. They're getting all the animals. Mantis are getting her faculty animal across the ship.
I would have been like, whoa, bitch. Nah, we ain't got space for them. I would have been like, cut that shit short. Who gonna feed them?
But then the raccoon, they got to feed them batteries. But then the raccoon jumped on that girl's face and was just tearing her up.
Why did Mantis throw her? She threw it at Sis' face and it just started tearing her up. I'm like, oh, she about to be looking like High Definition real quick.
Man.
I would have had to fight Mantis as soon as my face healed.
Oh, man.
I enjoyed this scene. It kind of reminded me of like Noah's Ark. Like, not one of
Did you say that? Man, you didn't talk about that. Crystal talked about that. She texted. I was like, somebody just said that same exact thing. I'm like, what?
Noah's Ark?
Yeah, where is this coming from? Okay, I get it now.
You didn't see that in the scene?
I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I get it now.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, they're getting all the animals. Of course, Noah's Ark had only two of each. But yeah. They was just like, look, Guardians, they in space, fuck it. Everybody get on the ship. Everybody. But I definitely enjoyed this.
Yeah, I guess they plan to inhabit or take. You know, they had a whole life, a new life form on their planet now. So they had a whole bunch of people. But of course, Quill is in the back. You know, he's last to try to get over. He drops his Zoom. I'm probably the same exact person. What you think?
You going back for it?
Yeah. Yeah, that was his dad gave him that. So, you know, that's where it came from. Like
his dad, he hated his dad. He didn't know his
well,
dad when he was younger. His mama gave it to him.
No, Young Dude gave him
Oh,
that.
Yondu. Oh, okay. His stepdad.
His step. Cause that was I mean, his mama gave him a headset. Young Dude gave him a Zoom, which was more up to date. That was God doggy. That was the Christmas movie, the Christmas special. That's what it was about. That.
Oh, okay.
That's what he gave him. That's what he gave him as a present. He was like, even though he kept talking about all this different stuff and he threw all this stuff away about Christmas, he gave him that. So that's why it was so sentimental for him. So he went back, he grabbed it, and then you know we see him grab this little. I guess he thought that was going to help him. What's the call? But you know, bomb introductions, right? He goes across, he gets stuck, and I'm like, man, he gonna die like Yondu. They can't do that. Like, and I definitely started welling up now. I was like, oh no, they can't get
for real.
They can't get him out of here like that. Don't send him off like that. He got a whole granddad. Let him get to his granddaddy.
I knew. I was just like, nah, he not going out like this. I didn't think he was gonna die out, but I was like, oh shit. But his face just swole up.
Yeah, when that happened,
like,
I was like,
Adam
he over with. I was like,
Adam. Where you
at,
Adam?
What was that, like an ET phone home type thing?
It was like a ooh. All right, let me grab you real quick. I'm like, motherfucker, you need to hurry up.
So, but what I thought was going to happen is he was going to die. Mantis was going to go back to the grandparent because she was so adamant about him doing it, and then just saying, "Hey, I'm his sister. Quill was a great person." Whoop, whoop. And that would have been a crazy ending as well. But I enjoy the way they did it.
Same.
The way they did it. But Adam saves him. He doesn't die. And they have this big group hug, and then Adam just like, shit, I want to hug too. Like,
let me get in here. And then Gamora's like, I don't know none of y'all niggas, so let me go ahead and walk over here to the side.
Yeah, every time she do that. Yeah, every time she always do. But she was like, she was like, you know, squatting. She was happy. You can see, you know, the emotion. They went ahead. They have the conversation about what they're going to do moving forward. You know, Quill, he decides to leave, to go back home, see his family. Mantis has always been basically almost like a concubine to a certain extent, and she decides to figure out life for herself with her 3 babies that she got. And Drax, you know, I love this not Me Too era, but this feminist talk that he kind of pulls up. He was like, I want to protect you, but not like that. You know, I just want to be there because of your sense, your weaknesses. She was like, I don't need you for not even for that. Like, I'm good. Like, don't worry about me. He was like, okay, cool. And she was like, but Drax, this is, you know, Nebula. She said, well, Drax, I need you here for me because, like, although you're not a destroyer, you a dad. Like, I need you to father these kids. Like, that's a tough job. Like, to go from like defending the galaxy to taking care of like 100 kids. Like, I'd be like, no. Like, the kids are not my sons or daughters. Like, them ain't mine. Like, no.
I mean, I guess it was because obviously the thing that fueled Drax in the first film was that his family died from Ronan and Thanos. And so now he has another opportunity to be that father. And so like when they had that scene in the cell where he was over there like, oh, my daughter loved when I made monkey noises. Boop, boop, boop. And they was like, my nigga, that ain't no monkey.
It's not a monkey, bro.
But it had the kids laughing. So definitely a softer side of Drax, and gives him an opportunity to do something that he enjoys that he hasn't been able to do. So, and then you also had the pairing of Nebula and Drax, because we rarely got that pairing anyway. It was always either Nebula and Star-Lord and Drax and Mantis. So I thought this scene was sweet. And then here go Rocket. So we breaking up? Like everybody going a different way, and everybody was like, you the leader now. They basically said, you got the juice now, Rocket.
Hey, I was just saying the same thing. You got the juice now, my boy. They hit
yeah. But so in this scene, I was like, this is the last film. So the Guardians of the Galaxy, we're not going to get a volume 4. Do you think we're going to see these characters again?
For
Outside of
sure.
Star-Lord, because of course we see the end credit where it's like he's gonna return.
He's gonna return.
But
I mean for sure Mantis. The only one I question is Drax, because
right,
Batista said he doesn't he doesn't want to
he's
do the role
done.
anymore. So considering what the Secret Wars is supposed to be and how they're talking about it, I'm pretty sure a lot of people gonna come back that we don't even expect. Like even from stuff that we don't even watch or whatnot, they gonna pop up as well. So yeah, nah, for sure, that's for sure.
Okay. And then we see Quill get back to Earth, and he goes to his grandfather's house. And his grandfather got he got a queen as a wife, you know. Quill was like, "Oh, I think I'm at the wrong crib. I'm looking for such and such." She was like, "Oh no, that's Bay. He on the porch." So, how'd you feel about this reunion? Because obviously, we see in the earlier film, Quill didn't have any kind of interest in reconnecting with his grandfather. It was never an idea until Mantis put it in his head.
Package. So I enjoyed it because Quill deserved that. And the grandfather thought his family was done. Like he didn't have any more family, and to see your grandson pull up, and he knew exactly who it was. Like Quill, like this, like bro, you guys, like we don't know where you was at. Like what happened to you? But like whatever it is, like and they for them to be so like for them to have known what Thanos was and to all these different things, like they super accepting. Because I'd be like, hold up, we need to do some tests on this brother here. Like
I'm not letting you in the house. How did you find my house?
exactly. That's all I'm saying.
But yeah. And so we see we got they're back in nowhere. Wait, do we do to see them there? So we see Nebula and Jack and Drax.
With the kids.
Drax with the kids having a good time. And he says his farewell to Mantis.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a bit emotional. I ain't cry because I'm a thug. But just to see her go off with her 3 big ass monsters destroying shit as they're leaving. And he's with the kids and they're dancing. Because I think Rocket, so Quill left his Zune with Rocket.
He left it with Rocket. Although in the beginning he said, "Don't touch my stuff."
Right. But he was going back to Earth, so he can get another one. And he probably gonna get a
some new music iPod.
Are iPods still being released?
I think they still sell them.
Interesting. Okay. So
yeah, I like that though.
Rocket plays some music. You said
yeah,
what?
there was like 2 callbacks from the beginning, like him telling him not to touch his music. So now he runs the music in the place. And then Drax talking about not dancing, and now you see Drax
Right, dancing with the kids.
With it. So yeah, both of those scenes emotional.
Yeah, and then of course Gamora goes back to the Ravagers.
To the Ravagers.
And the whole time, like Quill was telling her, like that's not really a family. But I don't know about you, but when I saw that scene of them together, they were so happy to see her. I was just like, nah, that definitely is giving family vibes.
Yeah, because I mean, that was a different group from what he was in anyway. And I mean, he say that, but shoot,
Right.
Kraglin, all them people was Ravengers at some point, and y'all a family now. Like things different, but Rocky, he ran his group a little bit different. So
yeah, Creed probably would have ran it better, but we're not even going down that road.
If we got two end credits. Well, we have a mid credit, which you see our new crew. Which it looks so weird, but it's early, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna look completely different. I know little girl gonna probably blow up after a while. We see Kraglin in the crew now, so he's actually in the crew. I don't know how much he can do, but we'll see. We'll see. And we see Gru has grown a lot larger. And I forget Gru. We actually heard words from Gru, which I was like confused. Like, wait, why did they?
So when that happened, I said, "Are we just hearing his translation of 'I am Groot,' but we're hearing it in like English of 'I love you'?" So realistically, he did he just say I am Groot? We just heard it in a different
Yeah,
language
yes, we heard it.
Because I'm like, nobody reacted to his I love you. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? Wait a minute. Nah.
that was funny when she's like, y'all just make up the shit he say, right? Like it's not.
Yeah. She was like, what? And the fact that he would say stuff, because when he was like saving Adam Warlock, he was just like, why? I am Groot. And then here go Drax. He said, everybody deserves a second chance. And I'm sitting here like, so when is it when he extends it? I am Groot, or I am Groot. Is when he giving you a whole paragraph? But I guess you got to hang out with him to understand what he's saying.
I mean, they understand. They understand the Groot language.
But then we also see Adam Warlock is with them as well.
He is. Adam Warlock is tied in with the crew now.
He's going to be a very useful ally. And I'm glad he's an ally and not an enemy, because he's extremely powerful. He just needs more development.
So fine tuning. So if they get another trilogy, he's gonna be a badass. Unless they just go to like an Avengers movie. However they do it, it's gonna be dope to see. So yeah, man. And the last end credit is basically just us. We catching up with Quill and his granddad just chilling out. He was talking about some kid, right? He said some kid cutting grass, but I thought he was somebody himself. I feel like
I thought he was talking about his step grandmother's kid.
Okay, he said 45.
I thought so, but I wasn't sure, and I'm sitting here like, so why you hating? But also the newspaper that his grandfather was reading,
you seen that too?
The Kevin Bacon went missing. So I was just like, okay, all right. But yeah, I wasn't sure exactly where he was going with that dialogue, but I'm sure somebody caught it and we're gonna see it somewhere online.
Yeah, it'll be out there. But that was the conclusion of the Guardians trilogy. So before we even get to was it good, because I'm pretty sure we understand. Where does this land in trilogies for you in Marvel?
So it's up there. I enjoyed the Guardians trilogy, and because I'm just sitting here like, okay, I might get killed for this, but if I got to think of where I enjoyed all three movies, all three, I enjoyed all three movies.
This and Spider-Man. They're the ones up there.
I'm gonna say that, and then I'm gonna say Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. Yeah, I enjoyed Ant-Man. So 2 was kind of like 2 is where that one would fall off, because 1, it was just like an unexpected shock. And I was just like, wait, why is this so good? Like I was like, I had a nice little time. 2 was it was cool, but 2 capping after Infinity War. So that's where that kind of that's where that, so if you just watch it standalone, it's cool. It's still just cool. It's not great. It's not cool.
Right.
3, I enjoyed 3, for sure. I definitely enjoyed 3. But this, like, all the Guardians movies play on you. Like every one of them, they play on you, and they're very enjoyable from beginning to end. It's just like, man, and you don't know these people, so it's just like for them to do that. And like Spider-Man, I feel like it's kind of like a cheat code. But then Spider-Man, they put a lot of different people, a lot of different things, and I feel like outside of the nostalgic purposes that they had in the third one, I don't know. This might be better. I mean, because it's like I said, because for me, the last hour of Spider-Man is perfect, but like you got a whole movie. This movie is great from beginning to the end. And you just like, man, please don't get rid of these people. Like I barely know them, but don't get rid of these people the entire time. So yeah, it's a thing. So people that's like the people that's enjoying it, that they would say it's the best trilogy, that's fine. And I also other thing like Captain America, I think the second movie is still one of my favorite, but I do feel like the third movie is a cheat code. That's like an Avengers Junior movie, if not because it's everybody. It's like kind of hard to really judge it when you start throwing all those different things in it. But just put a movie like Thor Ragnarok, like Ragnarok the Thor, the third one, just Ragnarok.
Right.
Like it's contained. It's a contained movie within his own universe, different stuff, and like that's a great movie in there. But yeah, man, they
Yeah.
Marvel.
I'm definitely not mad at that. And that you make a very valid point, because that's why I was just like, what? And when I like all three movies, because I know Winter Soldier is high on a lot of people's top 5 Marvel MCU movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm putting Cap as one of my top trilogies because of Winter Soldier. The first movie was not good to me. I did not enjoy it. I was just like, okay, I guess I got to watch it because I need to know the storyline of his origins. But we've also had the conversations of, in phase 1, a lot of the introduction origin movies, wasn't all that interesting. It
I
took me
mean,
3 years to start Iron Man.
I agree.
And
It's 3 for you. Shoot. The last 3 movies that I watched before I think Spider-Man, I feel like the ones was Thor 1, Thor 2, and Iron Man. Them were the only 3 movies I hadn't seen in the entire, and that was like I said, 2022, maybe 2021 when I watched them. Like it was after everything had already happened. Like then I'm like, all
yeah,
right, let me go back and just see if I'm missing something. I feel like Captain America may have been my favorite phase 1 movie, possibly. But that's not saying much based on what we had at that time.
didn't we get Avengers 1 in phase 1?
I'm not counting that. You know what I mean? Stan, I'm Stan. I'm not counting the. Come on
You
now.
see, I'm trying to reach. Save it. Save it.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm talking of the
Right.
standalone movies. Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that was my favorite of the phase 1. Like, because I mean, you got Hulk, no, Thor,
Right.
no. Yeah, nah. Yeah, so nah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like introduction movies are tough. Now, that's somebody could argue if that's the case. Guardians was really fucking good, and that was Guardians Volume 1 was an introduction. I'm like, valid. And
Yeah,
Black Panther introduction movie, first
yeah.
one, really good. So, and then also just to piggyback on what you said, when you have characters, because the Guardians have like a deep comic book presence, because I'm not familiar with their characters
I'm
prior to the films.
I'm not familiar with it, but they do. They have a
Okay.
run that they do, but they do. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So, because I definitely feel like if you have a deep comic book presence, getting a regular fan base should be easier than trying to introduce new characters into the universe. So, I'm not sure if Eternals had a deep comic book presence, which may have been difficult as to why a lot of people didn't grasp them as well. But I think it was just
Mm.
the script. Like if you would have gave Eternals to James Gunn, that movie would have been a lot better.
He's just so weird. Because I remember when he was on there, I thought he was done with it. Like I thought he was done with comic book movies altogether. But this nigga went and got DC. Like
I think he's gonna save DC. And I will sit
I'm
up
hoping.
here
I'm
and
hoping so.
I've said it multiple times to you on multiple occasions. I don't trust DC live action movies.
I get it.
Anybody that brings DC to me, I'm like, I don't trust their live action. Sorry, didn't like Justice League. Aquaman was ass. I didn't even watch Wonder Woman 2. Wonder Woman 1 was good.
I haven't watched Wonder Woman 2. If James Gunn,
If he can bring that back to life,
nah, fuck that.
it'll be fine.
I ain't even going there. If he can get Superman, make a good Superman movie, I will crown him as the comic book the comic book guru, because he was on the internet. He was saying like how it's boring now, like everything is just
It
boring.
is.
It's all the same thing. The people they're not taking risk. They're not changing it up. But man, he's doing it differently. And I mean he works for DC, so it's kind of hard for him. I don't think he would bash any of the movies that's coming up, but everything he said that's slated this year, he said it's great. Like he said, these are some you're gonna love these movies. From the Blue Beetle movie, which is a huge risk because Blue in a cartoon, Blue Beetle is an amazing thing, and even in comic books, that's more of a new. That's one a new, but then it's like the Mexican heritage, so it's dope seeing that over there. But
And then
then
Flash.
we got Flash, like that's he said that movie is supposed to be great. And they've changed a lot of different things. And like Shazam, I recently watched Shazam too. Um, it's a lot better than the first one. I enjoyed it a lot. Lucy Liu did a hell of a job in there, and then the other girl, she's fit to be the other villain. She's a lead in something I just seen. I was like, man, I seen her face somewhere. I don't know where it was from, and boom, there's lo and behold, it's her. So yeah, DC, they shaping up pretty nice. We gonna see. I haven't heard nothing about Aquaman, but Flash is supposed to be the movie of the summer.
Look, Shazam, no. That shit hit digital before Scream 6.
It did. It didn't. Jason. It didn't. It didn't do well. It didn't do well at all.
So you think I'm about to? Nope.
Now look.
Aquaman,
now look.
Fuck no.
I mean, with that, I'm not. See, I'm done trying to convince you to watch any of it.
Thank you. Whew.
But it was a good movie. Like, it's better than the first one. Like, and that's just my humble opinion in there. So it's gonna be. It's going to be funny to not funny, but it's going to be interesting to see where they go from this.
Out of 10, what would you give Shazam to?
A 7.
Oh shit, higher than a 6.5?
Yeah, I give it a 7. Maybe I give it a 7 now because no. I give it a 7. I got to be careful.
Your 7s translate for me as a 5 or a 4.5. No disrespect to you. So I ain't watching no fucking 4.5, Jason. Jazz ain't doing
I mean, because you got Guardians, and I'm like, yeah, it's like, it's not perfect. But if you get close to it, this is there. Like, this is close as you're going to get. To be able to, like I said, to be able to have 6 people we've never heard of, to make them important in a thing of very important people, this man is the man.
Yeah, all right. But we'll see. So, was there anything else you wanted to add?
Man, I think we done talked about a whole bunch. I don't think it's not. Oh shit. High evolutionary. How are you feeling about how do you this villain? I mean, it's kind of early to rank, in there, but like, how you feeling about him? Do you think he's gonna stand the test of time?
So, only reason why I would feel like people wouldn't is because he's only in one film as of now. But I just think the chaos that he produced should not be ignored. Because Ultron, I liked Ultron as a villain because of what triggered Ultron to become a villain. That motherfucker was on the internet for 5 minutes and said humans need to die. And so he tried. He was trying to destroy the earth, which is what High Definition actually did. He killed all of those fucking people. That family that the Guardians house was at that was drinking soda, they are dead. Like, anybody watching this movie, please do not forget about the lives lost on that planet at all. RIP to them. Give them a moment of fucking silence because you had kids playing. High Definition said, fuck all of y'all. So you think about all of your villains, even if you like them or not. How many of them have that high body count? This motherfucker killed a planet. Outside of Thanos, he had, like, well, body count is involved. He has number 2. Hela didn't even collect that many bodies. Ultron didn't collect that many bodies.
Nobody, I mean, not a whole planet.
Not no whole fucking planet.
But Hela. Now the difference between him and Hela did it all on her 2 feet. Like, she was just on feet.
But Hela also had. So Hela was a warrior, and she was doing that shit for years on years on years.
Mm-hmm.
But like, he didn't have any remorse at all whatsoever with what he did. They was like, yo, you destroyed a planet. And he was like, I'll make another one. Like, nigga, what? And I was more pissed at what he did to Rocket than what he did to that planet. But remembering he destroyed an entire civilization. Like, let's not forget. This motherfucker was crazy, and he did it with a really fake face on. So, yeah, like, if I have to say savage villains, High Definition is in my top 5, hands down, no debate. Like, I'm not mad
at that. Who else on that list? Just you can just name 1, 2.
I'm gonna say definitely Thanos, of course. that's out here just killing innocent folks. I might throw Ego in there as well, because Ego was destroying planets too. He was taking them over. We just didn't see it as much. But yeah, I would definitely do that. Like Killmonger, I liked him as a villain, but he wasn't as ruthless as High Definition. But like, where does he rank for you?
It's early to say, but I will man, because
I mean,
Namor is still up there too. I mean, I'm gonna give him top 7. I'm gonna give him top 7. Um,
I
like
forgot
oh
about
this,
Kang and Namor.
I'm saying this, but this is over everything, the entire universe. I'm saying probably I'm giving him top 7 just based on how he came and things of that nature. Because I definitely have Hella up there.
I
And
would definitely
it's
put
a different creature, completely different creature, but they both was horrible.
right, and I would definitely put him behind Kang. And I
Okay,
feel
so you
like
put it.
I
So
would
you got Kang up. You got Kang higher. I mean, so do you count Kang and He Who Remains as different people?
no, y'all
Okay.
all the same nigga. So, but
I mean, are they? They didn't live the same life. Gamora. We
look,
just talked about that.
here we go. All right, so Kang the Conqueror destroyed universes, and we saw Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man. He
Mm-hmm.
Who Remains was in Loki. He wasn't killing people like that. He was just trying to manage the timeline and keep everything at bay. And he just turned people that disrupted the timeline into, he gave them jobs. He became, I mean, it might not have been a job that you applied for, but it was still a job. I didn't kill you.
This
So
is
he
true.
made sure people had jobs. But I would put him, ooh, if I had to think of like body count, I think I would put High Definition, Kang, Thanos. I don't remember Ultron collecting that many bodies, so I definitely probably put Hela in there as well, because Hela was
Mm-hmm.
killing people prior to her even getting unleashed. So that bitch was killing people. Her daddy was killing people. Her daddy said, "Yo, go take care of them," and she was killing folks. So yeah, you got to definitely put her on there. And then Ego, because Ego was destroying planets. So yeah,
Yeah, no, that was I like that. I like that top 5 list though. That's a crazy list.
yeah.
That's a crazy list.
Two of them black. Look at us, representation.
Oh, so like I said, I feel like we know. Was it good though? I think you said you loved it in the beginning. You ain't even give it enough chance to even let the questions sizzle.
I don't need that shit to marinate. Now, if I like, I mean, because I know when I watched Doctor Strange 2, I was amped up, enjoyed it. And then when I went back to rewatch it, I was like, okay, your script is kind of trash,
Mm-hmm.
but I still enjoyed the movie. Wanda was dropping all the bars. So, but I think for this one, Guardians has never had me in a situation where going back to rewatch, I didn't like it less. So I'm not gonna say that's gonna happen for the third one. So this might just be amped up from seeing it in theaters, but I highly enjoyed this movie. So was it good though? Absolutely.
Same.
What about for you? This your
Oh
second time
yeah,
seeing it.
yeah. I enjoyed it. I knew I was going back, and I knew it was gonna hit. I mean, I knew it hit when I seen it the first time. I was like, oh yeah. I'm and I went and seen that movie. I missed 2 seconds.
And it was a raccoon.
It was him. It was the raccoon. The hand. I didn't see the hand. That's the only thing I didn't see. So when I seen it, it was the baby flash forwarding to when he was an adult. So
You need
boo.
to stop going to movies late, because this is like your second time talking about you getting to a movie late or being like,
And
all
it'd be
right, I
like
got it.
it'd be just like right there. Like I'm right there. And I would have just jumped over, but I had to pick my child up. So that's why I
That's
didn't.
important.
That's super important. But Lincoln Thrones. Lincoln Thrones. Who
It
you
was a
riding with?
lot.
It,
It was a
it's
lot in
it's
this movie.
it's deep. It's super deep, and a lot of these people James Gunn have worked with previously, like in other projects. So like he's definitely giving his people jobs. So a lot of these people are in DC already, and like they're now here. His wife was even in the movie. So
who was she?
She got shot. Gamora shot in the leg when she was in that room and she was screaming.
Oh shit! I meant to bring that up because I was like, look at Gamora shooting people in the leg. She did good in that scene because homegirl was screaming for her life after getting shot. So shout out to her.
Yeah, she's the love interest in Peacemaker.
Yep, never saw that.
Yeah, that's a good show.
Won't go see that.
I
But
understand.
it is what it is. But I will say my Link of Thrones is going to be Nathan Fillion. He was Master Karja. He was one of the guys that was when
You're gonna say something. You're gonna say, I'm not calling him Master. I told you his name was Master.
Yeah. But he was in Slither, which is a movie that you brought up.
Another James Gunn. I told you, James Gunn he be recycling his people.
Did James Gunn really do Slither?
Yeah, he wrote it and produced it. Yeah, same.
Bruh,
wrote it and directed.
He was working with what's good give you a Link of Thrones so I can tell you who he worked with in that.
It's another one. I'm using the High Evolutionary. Chakudi. I hope I'm getting this correct. Chakudi Iwuji, possibly. I hope I don't disrespect you. He was in the Peacemaker. He was in Peacemaker. Who was he won? Oh, he was Clemson Mern or something like that in the Peacemaker. But yeah, that's where I first seen him. But he was also in John Wick as well.
Nice.
And they said this is his first standout role. And he's 48 years young. So never give up hope, guys.
Absolutely not, because we see that with our man from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Hasn't been in a movie in years and just got an Oscar. So hey.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Fuck all them no's. Keep going until you get a yes. But the actress that I wanted to mention from Slither was Elizabeth Banks, who directed Cocaine Bear.
Okay.
And so I just looked it up, and you are completely right, because if James Gunn definitely did Slither, you have Hondu, which was
in Slither. Yeah.
And then you have Greg Henry, who was Star-Lord's grandfather. He was also in Slither. Yo.
No, James Gunn. No, they say that like James Gunn. He whenever he used people, he just likes to use them, and like he typically writer, director, and producer. He did movie 43 too,
which is fucking amazing, which is hilarious.
Yeah, that's what you said. That's what you telling me.
Nah, it's good though, but that's funny. Wow, anybody who hasn't seen Slither, definitely check that out if you don't mind really weird, nasty type of thrillers. That movie is crazy.
I'm not going to watch that because it just looks too much, too crazy. He did 2000. Well, James Gunn did 2004, Dawn of the Dead, and he did Scooby Doo. Like so,
the first one,
the second one. He did first and second. He did the first and second. The live action. He did the first and second one.
The first one was fire, but I will say, like, when you have directors and producers that bring in the same people, because we see that with Ryan Murphy with American Horror Stories, and also any of his side projects that he works on, and we also see with Tyler Perry as well. So I love when I see producers and directors working with the same people, because you have that chemistry, and it just unlocks so many different things. So
people got mad. But it's a black thing. It has to be a black thing. People got mad at Jordan Peele for saying he wanted his person that he can work with, which he felt like it was Daniel Kaluuya. And people was like, I don't like that, because I'm like, bro, like what? Like if this man he finds a chemistry with this person and he has a role he's written and this person can fit it, like let that nepotism go. Let it flow. If that's what it is, I mean it's not family, but if he can get somebody that's gonna do it. James Gunn also wrote on 13 Ghosts. That was his first big one.
Really?
Yeah, he wasn't the main, but he's just like some additional. Right, he probably was in the writer's room. When they did that.
That's dope. And I also want to say we do have a 13th Ghost review out there, so go ahead and check that out. Classic.
Nice callback.
I mean, look, we gotta put ourselves on. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But, nah, that's dope. That's really cool. I love to hear that, because I will say because like, as you already know, that I do different like contract work in TV. It's not on the movie side, but it's a broadcast side. If you're doing broadcast and you're doing a good job, you're going to keep getting opportunities because that chemistry, they know how you work. Ain't nobody gonna try to always get somebody new if you got somebody like, okay, they do a really good job. So not saying it's the same thing in the movie world, but it's definitely like that in TV, which is fire. Hopefully I get me something soon, something quick, get that little extra money. But yes, was there anything else you wanted to add for this review? This is a long one. I told us I was
it's
like,
way longer than I expected. I didn't think it was gonna be this long. Jesus. I'm not complaining because I'm just kicking it with the homies. So shit, that's how we just talk.
I think we had some really good topics that we touched on, and I hopefully people like check it out and appreciate it and don't feel us long. But I think the dialogue was really good here. We touched on a lot of key things. And fuck, it's Marvel, and we were taking shots. Come on.
Yeah, this is my last one, and it's the kill.
Wait,
are
you taking another one? My nigga, you're not supposed to. Oh shit! I mean, I got it. All right.
Yeah, come on. This fall. Episode 48. We appreciate everybody that's listening, that's coming back weekly, that's engaging with us on social media. Again, Facebook. I keep saying Snapchat, but not on Snapchat, but on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Next, we have our own Discord family. If you would like to be a part of it, you can definitely join. We kick it, laugh, talk about movies. Again, we're not going to get every movie, so everything we watch a lot of stuff. We got spoiler chats for everything almost. So you can always, and if we don't talk about it, there's other people in there that may probably watch it. I think this is what's this, Cinco de Mayo. So this is number 4, right? 4 piece.
You think I'm keeping count? And I don't know. But cheers to everybody celebrating. Thank you for being here for our episode 48. 50 coming soon. Hopefully we don't be taking no shots for that because
that's gonna be ugly.
It is. But cheers, Jason.
Cheers. Episode 48, the Was It Good Though podcast. This your boy Jason. This is Jazz. Have a nice one.
Cheers.